And we're on. Hey, everybody. Welcome to Monday night's Carnivore Talk roundtable discussion. And of course, this is a roundtable discussion means you too can be part of it on the screen, along with what's now the three of us. I've got room for 10. So there's plenty of opportunity to get on here and talk. And today we're going to talk about what to do if you fell off the wagon. It's the Monday after Christmas. Maybe you gave into that temptation. We talked about how to avoid it last week. Maybe you just weren't able to do it. That's okay. No shame, no guilt. But now it's time to get back with the program, especially as we head forward into 2026, because we want 2026 to be a successful year for everyone who's trying to apply themselves to bettering themselves and improving their health through a carnivore lifestyle approach.
Amen.
And so that's what we're going to talk about tonight. So feel free to join us in the chat off to the side. If you have any questions, just use a question mark at the end. Maybe throw us a few cues in front of it to grab our attention. We will get to it eventually. Sometimes we get a little bit behind on the comments, and but we do get to all the questions. So please be patient. And if you run out of time and have to sign off, you can come back and watch it. We will answer your questions, and we never miss a single one. So outside of that, I hope everybody's had a great week and that you had a good time with your family gatherings, those of you that got to enjoy that kind of activity. And now back with the program. Carnivore Jerry says it is freezing here in Northwest Wisconsin. And you know what? Here in Ohio, it took a major dive also. It's probably, it's 25 right now. And that was the high today. And we've got blustering winds that just slice right through you. You're driving down the highway and you can feel the wind pushing your vehicle, and the roads were slick, and it's pretty bad. We don't have a lot of snow accumulation yet, but there's the possibility of 6 to 8 inches, I guess. I'm not happy about that, but that's okay. How are things down in Texas? Probably the exact opposite. Isn't that right, Jeff?
Not quite.
No?
Now, all this last week, we've been up in the 80s. It's been absolutely wonderful. Great weather, great weather for me. My wife doesn't care much for the heat. She'd rather have the cold. But for me, it was fantastic. But then we got hit last night. Now, yeah, I'll sound like a weenie, whining about, gee, it got down to 32 here last night, and the wind was blowing 20 mile an hour. So, yeah, I was miserable, but it ain't nothing compared to what y'all are putting up with up north. But it's been in the high 30s all day down here, with wind chills down in the 20s, and yeah, it's been nasty. So it's like, go out, feed the animals, make sure everybody's got water and shelter, and go back in. And ain't getting much work done. Made a trip to Costco just because we didn't have nothing else to do. And then tonight it's supposed to get down 28, 27 or so. But that's mild from what y'all have to put up with.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. How about you, Paul? How are you frozen? Your screen looks like it is. Yeah, you're frozen. Even your voice isn't coming through. So, all right, yeah, he's gonna try again. So that's okay. All right, yeah. So it's pretty chilly, and but that's okay. We're gonna stay warm and enjoy some good association here. Looking over at the chat, Sandy was the first one in the door, and Jerry says that she's listening to us while she works. That's good. Here comes Paul. His video looks better this time. Let's add him to the stage.
All right.
There you go. Oh, that's much better.
Yeah. It's
all right.
Kind of variable weather here. You have sleet or ice one day and 45 next day, and not too awful bad this part of Pennsylvania. And I drove home from southern Delaware on guess it was the day after Christmas. I got in just as I got in, about 4 o'clock. I was starting to sleep. And but I made it back. And busy kind of Christmas seeing the grandkids, and they're all excited. They're all going to Chicago for the World Irish Dance Competition, and my grandson's the only one competing, but the whole family's going to support them. And they got the economy flights. I guess they got $60 tickets, and the the luggage fee per piece of a suitcase was $60 too. So they got 2 suitcases and 6 airplane tickets, and you can do the math. And they'll be I guess it's middle of March, maybe middle of April. They'll be in Chicago for 4 days. And he's got a long routine, man. I don't think I could memorize that thing even if I had a couple months to do it. It's a long routine, man. And I don't think I could do it. He's 11, but he don't stop practicing. I mean, his mind's always going and just thinking dance, dance, dance. And right. God bless him.
So you got to play with your grandkids, and I know you went there prepared with your own food and your own keto carnivore cheesecakes. So
yep.
were you able to stay on the wagon with success, Paul, over the weekend?
Yeah. I wound up delaying my leaving by 1 day, but everything worked out great, and I had lots of eggs and bacon, and there was always meat available, or there was always meat in the fridge that I could just heat up or cook up. And I had a lot of eggs, 8 more eggs than I normally do, but it was just very simple, and it was a good. The food business went well, and the blood sugar went very well, and so it wasn't bitter cold, so I could go out a little bit, take a walk around the block. It wasn't too bad.
All right, very good. We're going to throw some more chats up on the screen here. Brisket Boomers says, hello, everyone. Glad to have you here tonight. Bacon Runner says, good evening to all 3 of us here on the screen. And then there's Amy, Keto Rockstars, is saying hi to everybody. So, and Thomas, Target Prime Rib, he says that over the holiday, he had no issues, but he was sick, so he wasn't able to celebrate or participate. So we're sorry to hear that, Tom, and hope you're feeling better now. And remember, all of you are welcome to join us on screen. I know some of you have in the past, and we certainly hope you take advantage of that. We enjoy talking to you. Brisket Boomer says, Monday night, I usually go to bed to your voices. So
we put you to sleep, huh?
Sorry if we put you to sleep. And there's Lexus. Good to see you, Lexus. How you doing? How was things for you over the last week? And there's Kitchen Witch. And Charger Mopar Rick says it was 82 down there in Miami. So that's I could tolerate either Texas or Miami right now. I would gladly switch you places. Steadfast says the winds reached me here in Delaware late this afternoon after a high of 61. And McDaniel Linda has joined as a new member. And so thank you very much. We appreciate you having here. We'll talk about later how that will benefit you some. And she's from Michigan, by the way. So you're my neighbor. I'm down here in Ohio. The major blizzard was there in Minnesota yesterday, according to Lexus, and the ice storm in Maine today, according to Brisket Boomers. Actually, I saw some headlines that said that the New England area, from like, you figure the Great Lakes blowing across Pennsylvania, New York, New Jersey, Maine, that area. From what I understand, I think you guys got bombed with snow over the last couple days. And at least that's what the headlines were saying or predicting. So hope all of you are doing okay up there. Grandma's Crochet Corner is in the house. Good to see you, Grandma. And there's Papa Carnivore. Hope you're doing good, Papa Carnivore. Good to see you. All right. He asks, did you watch my 1,000 Days of Carnivore video with Carrie on Saturday night? We had a blast. I did not. I was preoccupied Saturday night. That would be over on Carrie's channel, right? Homestead How for replay. I would imagine so. All right. Let's see here. But it looks like a lot of these individuals did get a chance to see it. So that's good. Let's see here. And that catches us up pretty well. All right. Now, we'll move over to Jeff in a second, but I want to prelude this. Tonight's theme was kind of Jeff's idea. I'm driving home from work, and I get a text message from Jeff because I'm driving. I only see a little snippet of the text message in the notification shade, and it says, "It's the Monday after Christmas, and I fell off the wagon. What do I do now?" And I'm like, no way. Of everyone we talked to, this is like the most ironclad stalwart. He ain't going to budge. He ain't going to fail. And I'm like, what in the world? Like, this is really something really happened to Jeff. I got really concerned. And when I got to a red light, I was able to read the entire notification. And that was in quotes. And it ended with, what do you think of that as, being our theme for tonight? So I was completely fooled. I was like, there's no way. Oh my gosh. I can't, can you picture Jeff just like, what do I do now? I just ate too many sugar cookies. It just seemed so out of character. And it was. Anyway, I thought it was funny. So because my initial reaction was like, it was so funny.
Yeah, I'm way too close to 1,000 days to give up now.
Yeah.
And I've done too much healing. I've had too many miraculous milestones that I've met. To throw that away would just be one of the most, the only thing more foolish than that would be to throw away my Christianity, to throw away my salvation, which I can't do that. But, there's no way I can go back.
So then how did your holiday weekend go? Mine
went great. I'm very fortunate. Unlike a lot of people, I have a very supportive family that a lot of them, while they're not carnivore, they're meat centric because of what I do. And my daughter is a fantastic cook. She tries to, I tell her, don't make a fuss about me. I can either eat or I can't eat. It's no big deal to me. I'm not there for the food. I'm there for the family. So if you want to make nothing but carbs, you go right ahead. I don't care, because that's not what I'm there for. But she's a sweetheart, and she understands what I do, and she agrees with what I do. And she's got basically her whole family on a meat-centric diet. And my son-in-law, he had a scare here a while back, and it got him to really thinking. And so he's I don't know if he's quite 100% carnivore, but he's gotten off the soda waters and Cokes and all. And he's if he's not carnivore, he's definitely ketovore. But she tries to center everything more around me. She still makes the macaroni and cheese, and stuff like that for other people, and the green beans and whatnot. But she makes a mainly meat-centric diet meal, and she's a cheesecake queen. So she makes her sad cheesecakes for everybody else, but she makes this year she made 2 savory cheesecakes. It's a new invention of hers. We eat them more for breakfast than anything. One was made with bacon. The other one was made with ham and Swiss cheese, which was delicious. And then she makes me my own carnivore cheesecake that she does put a little allulose in it, but other than that, it's 100% carnivore. She doesn't use any flour or anything in it. It's got egg white powder in it. So she makes it easy on me, but even if she didn't, like I said, I'm not there. I go into this whole thing, have been from the beginning, with the mindset that whether I'm going out to eat with people, if I'm going to get together, whatever, I am there for the company. I am not there for the food. If the food is something I can eat, great. If not, no big deal. So for me, this is my mindset. This is how I get through the holidays, because the food means nothing to me anymore. It's just something to nourish my body. And it's like, okay, if I'm riding my Harley's high compression engine, it's got to have premium gasoline. And if I pull up to a pump and I'm not going to go ahead and put regular in it, it's not going to happen. I'm going to put the best fuel in it I can so it runs at its optimum performance. And I'm no different. My body is more delicate and intricate than the engine on my Harley. So it's important that my body get the premium fuel, and the premium fuel is what? Meat, fat. So that's what I'm going to feed it. So I treat my body like I treat my Harley.
I really like that illustration. That's good. I have a truck that requires 89 as a minimum. 80, it'll run on 87, right, but it says we really recommend 89. And I have some friends that have vehicles that require 93. The octane. So
yeah, I remember being close to empty. I mean, my warning light was on, and I pull in. I'm out in the middle of nowhere, and I pull into a gas station, ratty country. Looks like it wasn't even sure the pumps were running. It was so ratty, and they were old pumps. I don't even think the pumps read in dollars. That's how old they were. And there's going to be people on here can't even remember that. They don't, yeah, we used to have pumps that didn't read in dollars. They had to change them all out, when gas prices got that high. I'm sure you remember that, Paul. I remember paying, lowest I paid was 24 cents a gallon one time. That's back when I was a kid with my first motorcycle. But anyhow, I pulled in that pump and they didn't have premium. All they had was regular and they had diesel. I had no choice. I had to put regular in. Did it hurt my engine? No. Wasn't good for it, but it didn't hurt it. But I only put enough in to get me to the next station where I could put the premium in it. So I look at it the same way. If I have to eat, which I really have to, I can always fast, but if I just had to, and there was nothing available but carbs, I would pick the carb that's going to affect me the least, which will be something natural. It's just not going to be highly processed, So, I mean, yeah, we can run on lesser foods, but I'm still going to put the premium in when I can.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, very good. Makes good sense. Very well. We'll go back to catch us on some chats here. Well, before we do that, just remember, you can join us on screen here and talk to us face to face using the link that's pinned at the top. And if you are on Facebook or X watching right now, I'm about to send it right now. That's the link. You can click on that. And there's, now that we're live, there is no backstage. So I'm going to see that you're a real person, and then I'll add you to the screen. And so, yeah, come all. Alexis Jones says that the live with Carrie was amazing. So, yeah, if you haven't seen this, it was Saturday. Go see that live. In fact, let me just, so it can be more specific, I'm going to go look it up and see if I can find a title for it. Homestead How is the channel. And that would have been a live. So we go over here. Oh, okay. Well, it's one. Okay, most people quit. We didn't. 1,000 Days Carnivore. It's the most recent live video. So you can go over there and check that out. And even the thumbnail is very inspiring. So So yeah, go check out that testimony there on Carrie's channel. Oh, let's see here. Catching up on some of the comments here. Lambs is here. Hi, Lambs. And we have 16 inches of snow in Maine. Wow.
No thanks.
I'm sorry. And nope, can't picture it. That's probably a reference to the text message from Jeff saying, that I misunderstood because I only didn't see the whole thing. Let's see here. I was watching a report for the weeks coming up to watch for as far as snow. It seems a couple days in early January you are circled, but I guess that's usual for you. It is for us. January is in Ohio is in my part of Ohio is the most brutal time of year. So it could be starting tonight, and January's bad, miserable, depressing. First 2 weeks of February sometimes, and then after that you start seeing glimmers of hope in that second half of February. Let's see here. Bill Cook is here. Hello, Bill Cook. Brisket Boomer says this was actually the biggest snow in a few years. Some years we have a lot, some years not as much. That's true. We've been having a lot of mild winters lately, and so we're due for a nasty one here in Ohio. Lexus says, today was my first day on triple B&E, and as far as I feel, just okay.
So far, I feel just okay.
So far, I just feel okay. Sugar withdrawals, maybe too much coffee. Could be either one. So, whenever you restart, which is our subject for tonight, by the way, and we're going to get to that in another couple minutes. Whenever you do restart, you might experience those withdrawals over again and, those adaptation symptoms over again. We'll get into that in a moment. And just like before, you just kind of have to, muscle your way through that. This too shall pass. And then you'll be back to feeling great with lots of energy again. All right. Jamette is here. Hi, Jamette. Glad you could join us. And all right. Here's our first confession. I ate half a sweet potato at Christmas dinner. Didn't need to, but made mom happy. Well, that's okay. We're glad you made your mom happy. And
there's a whole lot worse things than half.
Yeah, we're not going to shame anybody here. A sweet potato, at least that's
as long as that wasn't a sweet potato pie.
A sweet potato is natural. Sure, it's starchy, it's carby or whatever. But you only had half of one, and now you're back on the train, right? Back on the carnivore train. I'm sure you did yourself no harm whatsoever. So, again, we're not here to shame anybody, beat anybody up. And in fact, if some people deliberately, they're like, hey, my family's coming over and they're gonna partake, and they have a completely clean conscience about it, and that's okay. And other people are like, I've gone almost 1,000 days, I am not budging, and that's okay too. Brisket Boomers remembers 29 cents a gallon. When I started driving, it was you see the sign at the pump and it'd say 59, 79, 99, I think. So, or 59, 69, 79, something like that. Those the prices when I first started driving in 1992, I believe. Coach Angela Mullins is here. Good to see you. So, and Jamette asks, who cheated on carnivore during Christmas? I was lucky. My sister's family let me make carnivore meatballs and sausage bites. So they loved it. Yeah. Okay. Very good. That's what we're asking, and actually we don't care. I don't care. You don't have to admit to cheating on over Christmas in the chat or anything like that. That's okay. But if you did, that's what we're here to talk about. We're going to talk about how to get back on the wagon, because some people can have a half a sweet potato and then get right back on plan. No big deal. I'm one of those people. I can have an apple once in a while, or I never eat grains and I never eat refined sugar. but I can eat a plant or off plan once in a while, and maybe even a potato or something. I've gone out for a seafood boil and had one of the boiled potatoes in the bag, but it doesn't affect me anymore. Now that I'm years into this, when I was in my first year into this, that would have been the end. I could have an apple or a potato, and then it might take me 2, 3, 4, 6 months to get back on plan because it just completely derailed me. But now it's not an issue. Look at that puppy. Look at that puppy. We're going to put that puppy up on full screen as soon as I remember how.
Is that an Irish setter?
Outside, I needed to bring her in.
Yeah. Look at that. What's the puppy's name?
That's Ginger.
Hey, Ginger.
Is that an Irish setter?
No, she's English. What is it? English sheepdog and border collie.
Oh, okay. Nice.
Absolutely adorable.
Yeah.
Yeah. Look at that nice, calm demeanor.
Yep.
Yep.
She's a good girl.
Good girl. All right.
She was out there barking. I had to make sure there wasn't coyotes sneaking around trying to get at my goats or something.
Yeah.
She's my watchdog.
We'll hear them outside. There'll be a whole pack of them just crying and making a fuss. My dog will be barking back at them. I'm like, now get in here. They probably outnumber you, dummy. David B says hi from Kentucky. All right.
David.
And he's a member too. Thank you for that. Let's see here. Tanya, half a sweet potato sounds good, but can get back to carnivore, restart. All right. Was in the upper 50s when I left for work, 40s high winds when I got home this evening. All right. Let's see here. Here we go. I was very bad, stayed with my son 4 days, ate several homemade desserts, came back with swollen feet and ankles, back on track now. Oh, well, at least you're back on track. The swollen feet and ankles, that's kind of an interesting thing, an interesting reaction. I don't know. Maybe it's just, I don't know, maybe, I mean, it could be the content. Maybe it's just the carbohydrate. The word hydrate is an emphasis there. So maybe now you're, holding water or something. But that's interesting that you'd have swollen feet and ankles.
Yeah. Well, see, when my mother-in-law was alive, she had lymphedema real bad when she first came to live with us. And we put her on carnivore, and we got that lymphedema completely wiped out. And then the first time she went to stay with her youngest daughter, they eat SAD diet, and she fed her a normal SAD diet with plenty of sweets and whatnot. And we went and picked her up 2 weeks later, and the lymphedema was back.
Mm-hmm.
And that was just from eating the carbs again. So it'll definitely do it to you.
Interesting. Lexus has a question. One of my coworkers consistently offers me sweets, even though she knows I'm not supposed to eat that stuff. What do I say to her so that she stops?
Ask her if she hates you. I'm serious.
Yeah.
Ask her if she just flat hates you. Why do you not like me? What's wrong with me? What is it about me that you don't like? Because if you really liked me, you wouldn't constantly be trying to do this to me.
That would be very effective.
I mean, that's harsh, but it's true. A friend
that'll nip it in the bud right away. Yeah.
A friend supports you.
Yep.
Yeah.
Exactly.
And so that's a good idea. I mean, you could just consistently say no, so I mean, you probably can't tell her you're allergic to it. She probably knows better if, since you work with her and she knows you very well, but some people
just like to needle you.
I just say, I only eat meat, no thanks. I only eat meat. That usually actually that'll pave the way for an interesting discussion. And that gets people that don't know, like she knows, but people that don't know when they offer me something, like me and my son, we were at we want an estimate to look at a job. We did a backsplash for a woman a couple months ago, and now she wants us to go work in her laundry room. And when we were there, she was like, "Oh, do you want a cookie?" I went to the bathroom and she was like, "Here, do you guys want some cookies?" And my son was like, "Well, I'll have one, but my dad won't touch that because he only eats meat." So, and so that's, oh, he only eats meat. That actually starts a good conversation, and you get to talk about, you know, your diet and the health changes that the good that it's done for you. And but with the coworker, you know, she probably heard it all, and you know, Jeff's approach, you know, could be effective. You know, I would just ask her, please stop. You know, I would appreciate you trying to, support my efforts to be healthy, you know, and not try and sabotage it. You know, so yeah, I think the direct approach would be good. I do. All right. Okay. I gained 7 pounds in 4 days. You know what? I tell you what, back when I used to yo-yo diet, I could pack on weight like it's nothing. I can spend months getting it off and a week to put it all back on. My ability to gain weight is ridiculous. But I've maintained my weights for over 2 years now. So
That's
then
good.
Lexus says water weight. And that's true. A lot of that's what, again, carbohydrate. It's in the name. You know, you're putting on a lot of water weight too. So Coach Angela Mullins says, I did fine Christmas. I did have one slice of cheesecake for Thanksgiving. Okay, that's fine. We need to get into these carnivore cheesecakes that Jeff and Paul, you know so much about. And we've got a bunch of cheesecake downstairs. So on Thursday, you know, my son's daughter and father, my son's daughter, my son's girlfriend and the father came over, and they brought over like a big variety cheesecake, and they're all chowing down on it. You know, I didn't have any, but I did look at it and was like, you know, I was like, that's almost carnivore. If it wasn't for the sugar and the crust, I got to learn how to make one of these carnivore cheesecakes that everybody else has and they enjoy.
It's so easy. I mean, I don't like to fuss with stuff a lot, but it's just so easy. If you just Google that George Stella cheesecake, you'll find the recipe, and it's got all the instructions. And I like the New York style one with the ricotta cheese in it. It's got a cup of ricotta, 3 bars of Philly cream cheese, and 3 eggs, 3 egg yolks, and whatever sweetener you may want to put to it, and third of a cup of cream. That's it.
All right.
Bake it 400 for 15 minutes and lower it to 350, and an hour and a half later, you're done. Put it in a water bath.
The only carnivore desserts I've made have been some butter bites, and I've sweetened those with either allulose or stevia, and they literally become candies then. And then Kiltz's ice cream, you know, so carnivore ice cream. Linda Flanagan says, I didn't eat off plan on Thanksgiving or Christmas for the first time ever. Awesome. Congratulations. Yes. All right. So it's 8:30. Remember, you can join us on screen with the link I just posted in the comments here. And let's talk about our topic here. So we're half an hour in. Let's talk about falling off the wagon, which, you know, I don't know. Maybe you did, maybe you didn't. Sounds like a lot of you did very well in sticking to your guns. And so that's good. But it is very common. It's very common to fall off the wagon during the holidays. And it can be particularly tough in the keto well, maybe I don't want to say about the keto. They got ways to cheat and make keto snacks that can kind of get them through it. And but if you're a carnivore and you want to stay carnivore, it can be difficult. So maybe we veered off course a little bit with using the keto route, or maybe you ended up just splurging. The good news is restarting is actually very straightforward. I've said it in the past, like, if you ate off plan at 1, at dinner, 6 o'clock or whatever it is, you're back to being a carnivore. Don't tell yourself I'll start again tomorrow. Don't tell yourself I'll start again Monday. Don't tell yourself I'll start again January 1st. And you just, okay, so you had a momentary blip, moment of weakness, gave in, whatever. Or whether you did it deliberately, that's okay. But it's, fine. You had your cupcake, but now you're back to being a carnivore. So you get back on it, and don't worry about it. Okay. Don't dwell on the guilt. And now if you've backslid for a while, and so now let's say several days have gone by, the same thing is, you don't want to dwell on the guilt. You want to just jump right back in. Now, if you hosted your family gathering and you've got all kinds of leftovers that nobody would have taken with them, you've got, puddings and pies and stuff left over, it's time to get rid of them. So toss them out. If you can't, if you don't have family you can give them away to, they go to the trash. So rid yourself of any temptations in your environment, and get right back on track. Focus on eating fats, and especially if you're having sort of sugar cravings again. The way you deal with that is just eat more fat. So you eat, and all of a sudden you still feel hungry because you got the carb cravings back. Eat again, but eat heavy fat, and then that the satiety signals will kick in. You might also want to not eat. Some people, they like to fast for the remainder of a day or 2 days and then get back into carnivore. I can't do that. I like to eat, but for some people, they find that to be very effective.
And I think that's a good idea.
Mm-hmm.
I think, especially if you're struggling. If you're struggling, I think sometimes abstinence is just the best way to go about it, and start from scratch again.
Yeah, very good. If you can do that, that's
everybody's
great.
got to tailor it to what they can handle, what they can do.
Right.
It's like when starting carnivore originally. Mm-hmm. Some people, they can moderate and they can ease on in and kind of go ketovore, and then full carnivore. And I'm not that type. I'm a rip the Band-Aid off kind of fella, jump right in, get it over with. And me, when I went full carnivore, I jumped in with both feet. I didn't think nothing about it. And I went through I faced the consequences for doing it for about 30 days, but what the heck, when somebody's got IBS for over 30 years, what's the difference?
Yeah.
I mean, it's not like I haven't experienced this every day of my life, so it's no big deal.
Yeah, I know. I can relate. I had ulcerative colitis. There's times where I'd go 24 times a day. So a little diarrhea, nothing, so.
Yeah.
And so then that's the other thing too, is remember, you might go through that digestive discomfort, unpredictable bowels, the keto flu symptoms, depending on how long you've been off plan, you might have to go through that again. But remember, you made it through it before, and you can make it through it again. And just like before, make sure you're well hydrated. You might need to take some electrolytes again, or continue to. I don't take them anymore, but you might need to take some electrolytes during that transition period to help calm down those keto flu symptoms. And you might even need to ease yourself into it if that's what you did. But remember, why do you want to be carnivore? Why did you start it? Why did you stick to it? What kind of results did you have? Did when you were on it prior to falling off the wagon, were you, did you lose weight? Did you reverse disease? Did you have all kinds of energy? Were you able to wake up and get about your day without depending on a coffee IV drip into your arm? Think of all the benefits that you got to experience. And certainly you want to experience those again, don't you? Absolutely. So remember that, and let that motivate you. So if you fall off the wagon, the damage is just momentary and light and easy to reverse. If you're just a few days, just a few days past the holidays, easy to get back on track. Do it right now. That's what I would say. Would you like to add anything to some of these suggestions?
I think you pretty much covered it. Just start from where you're at. Don't beat yourself up. Forget the mistakes. Remember the lessons. And it's no big deal. Like we used to say back in the Army, it ain't nothing but a thing. Just deal with it and go and carry on.
All right. Very good. Ginger has got a small fan club going on over here in the comments here. It's a beautiful dog.
Thank you.
We all agree here. Feral grandmother has joined us in the chat. And then also David B has joined us on the screen. How are you doing, David?
Hey, doing good. Can you hear me?
Yes. Yeah, you're coming in crystal clear today.
Well, good. Good to see you all.
Good to see you too. How was your weekend or your holiday weekend? If you had a big woo ha ha.
It was all carnivore for me except for my coffee, and I'm going to be with Amy and a few others starting lion diet here in a couple days.
Mm-hmm.
And so I'm having my butter and my coffee and my last eggs, and I'm going to be doing beef, salt, and water for 30 days. So
okay, so you're going to nix the coffee too.
Nope, not for lion diet. I won't have it. Yeah, it's going to be it's going to be a clean lion for 30 days. And,
all right, very good.
I don't know if I could do that.
So a lot of people make resolutions for the new year starting on January 1st, but it's also worth mentioning that January is either officially, or I don't know how it's official, but it's been going around for several years now. January is considered World Carnivore Month. And so that's a good time, if you're a resolution type guy, that's a good time to try and get back on the plan, or maybe just up the ante a little bit. Maybe you've been just ketovore, and try 30 days of carnivore. Maybe you've been carnivore or beef, butter, bacon, and eggs. Try 30 days of lion diet. Do something to challenge yourself in January and see if that doesn't give you some results that might surprise you. So I would encourage everyone to do the same. In fact, that's going to be our focus on a lot of January here on Monday nights and over in the forums. And last year we did a contest, and we're going to do something similar this year too. And we'll probably talk about that more in detail next Monday. We're still kind of laying out the groundwork for that. So yes, so definitely, you can join. I think I know what David you're talking about. Is that the one that's set up on Kiltz's group?
Yes.
Yeah.
Amy,
so
Amy's been pushing for it, and then Lewis, I think he set something up with to have the group. So Amy supplied the link. So I plan on being to our first meeting starting tomorrow night. I think it's at 7 Eastern time, and anybody that wants to join in, you can get that link from Kiltz's.
Yeah, you got to join Kiltz's Mighty Tribe.
Yeah.
So
then from Kiltz's Mighty Tribe, you got to join the Lion Diet group that was created.
Exactly.
Yeah. And so there's a group specifically for the Lion Diet on Kiltz's Mighty Tribe. And then we're gonna, like I said, we're gonna run a contest or do something similar on Carnivore Talk like we did last year. It doesn't have to be Lion Diet though. So like I said, if you're animal based, try 30 days with none of the fruit and honey, and just give carnivore a try for 30 days. That's what I'm just saying. Make some change. make some change to step it up. If you could change nothing, maybe just amp up your exercise, or commit to drinking more water or something like that. So what we want to do is try and take what we're doing and do it better for World Carnivore Month come January 1st.
So is lion diet just beef or any meat?
Any ruminant animal. So a
Exactly.
ruminant,
Okay.
any
Beef, deer,
animal that
lamb,
got a fork
goat.
in your stomach.
Okay. All right.
So mostly, like a lot of the red meat qualifies, but then there are red meats that don't qualify too. So
Okay.
yeah, but yeah, beef, bison, deer, elk, goat, those ones are the four chamber stomachs. So all right, what they call that, something gastric. There's monogastric and there's something other gastric. Is it quadrigastric?
Quad.
I don't know. Well, monogastric animal would be like, fish, chicken, pork, one stomach. And so that's technically not lion diet. So lion diet would be ruminant red meat. So be water and salt, and that's it. So if you thought carnivore was strict, lion diet is strict. And lion diet was actually, that's been coined by Michaela Peterson. So she's the one that coined the term lion diet, and she's got the website called the Lion Diet, and has some literature published about it. So because that's all she can eat. She's like allergic to life. So like that's all she can eat is steak and water. So
in our community, there's people who are more restricted than others.
Right. Mm-hmm.
It's it just conjures up bad images in my mind, because lions, when they actually eat their prey, they enter the prey through the sex organs and the rear end. Those are the soft spots.
No, yeah, I know you're overthinking it. So.
I know, but I just from my wildlife knowledge, it messes with my head.
All right, that's not something I'm aware of. So.
It's a soft spot.
Basically all your predators, your carnivores, they always go for the soft underbelly. Mm-hmm. They go for the rear first. They go for the guts. They go for the fatty, the most nutritious parts of the animal, which is going to be your organs.
Yeah.
I know when I lose an animal, when I lose one of my goats or something, or sheep, it's not a pretty sight, but they've always taken the organs. I'll find the stomach, and that's it. There'll be nothing left but the stomach. And they might eat on the haunches a little bit, but for the most part, they don't touch much else. If they'll leave it out there long enough, they'll eventually finish it all off. But for the most part, all they go for is the organs in the beginning. And to be honest, man used to do that too. If you take the Plains Indians, when they would drop a buffalo, the very first thing they would do is they would open it up. They would take out the liver and they would take out the gallbladder. They would split the gallbladder open and they would pour the contents over the liver and eat the liver raw right there on the spot, warm, with the gallbladder juice over it. And then they would take the intestines and they'd wrap those around their neck, and they would chew on those all day long. That was just a treat to them. If it was a baby calf, buffalo calf, they would open it up and take the stomach out and take the contents out and get that curdled milk and eat that. That was always what they went for first. They're just following the example of the coyote.
Mm-hmm. All right, back to the chat. Jamet's talking about her workmate situation. Says it's hard for me to say no. I feel like it's going to be awkward. Well, you just kind of, you're gonna have to get used to that.
Yeah.
It's that's it's not as awkward as you think it is. You know, a lot of that's kind of like, you know, being self-conscious. Just don't worry about it. You know, wear your carnivore identity with pride, you know, or stand your ground with pride. I mean, you don't have to like flaunt, you know, oh, I'm a carnivore. You know, you don't even necessarily do that. It's just like, I don't eat that. That's not food. Simple as that. I only do what I say all the time. I only eat natural. I only eat what God or Mother Earth has provided. You know, I can't send my hunting dogs into the field to flush out Snickers bars. You can't do it, you know. So, but I can hunt it, I can milk it, I can pluck it off a vine. You know, those are all things that I think are acceptable, you know. So that piece of hard candy, it doesn't fit the bill. You know, that's exactly the line that I tell people all the time, and you hear me say this repeatedly here on Monday nights as well. So, and
I think you're just too sweet, Alexis. You're too sweet. You're a nice girl. You don't want to hurt nobody's feelings. But, you know, the thing is, this is about your health. This is about you. It's not about anybody else. And anybody that's offering that stuff ain't trying to help you. So you have to help yourself. You're gonna have to get strong and tough about it.
It's just a nasty part of that person.
yeah. And some people, and you know, people, when you're trying to eat right and lose weight and be healthy, there's people out there that for some reason their first instinct is to try and sabotage it. You know, like
jealousy.
I did it here, and I had it with my own wife and daughter at the beginning. You know, like they come in with candy and all kinds of stuff, and they're like, "Look, I can eat anything I want." You know, and I'm like,
"Oh man, what a man!"
I'm like, "Well, I can eat anything I want too." The point is, I don't want that. You know, so you can have it all you want. I don't want it. So, but now everybody's really supportive. But in the beginning, all my friends, all my family, they're like, "What a carnivore diet? What are you talking about?" You know.
I was shocked. The day after Christmas, we had a brunch. There was a lot of bacon and a lot of eggs. And my son, who's lost 100 pounds in the last year on chicken and broccoli, I was amazed at the amount of eggs and bacon he was eating. And I thought, it's carnivore and you don't even really know it. Or he's having a carnivore breakfast. And I saw him avoid the cinnamon rolls and other stuff like that and the pancakes. And I thought, you know, and I didn't say nothing because I know he could be touchy about that. But I'll tell you what, I about cried when I saw him. To see a person go from almost 300 pounds to 195-ish, it was just, oh my God, and he has applied to, he's in a lottery drawing for the New York Marathon. And he's hoping to get in, and his sponsors trying to also get him in. And so, but I was shocked when I saw him. I mean, I go, oh my God, there's half a person gone.
Right. Yeah. No, and it's good that he's done so well. And you know what? Chicken and vegetables is, I mean, that's keto. I completely support keto. So if that's working for him, and you know, he's gone from 300 to half that, or you know, almost half that, I mean, you know, power to him. That's awesome. Yeah. And so, yeah, you should definitely, you know, congratulate him and give him praise for his progress. Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
Encourage him to keep doing what he's doing.
Yeah.
We don't want him to fall off that wagon and return to 300.
Yeah.
Wouldn't want it.
He had to recast his well, I forget what you call it. It's the part that your artificial legs, your stub of your leg goes into. I forget what they call it. It's like he had to recast that 3 times last year.
Yeah, I don't know what that's called either.
Yeah, it's I don't know, whatever it is. And
he's got an artificial leg.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
And then and it's got an electric motor on it, and it's got a battery pack in it, and when he engages it, when he puts it on, vacuum pump comes on and sucks it in, sucks it right up, and
Mm-hmm.
the technology is amazing.
Yeah. Lexa says, I don't think the people at my job realize how much I suffer when I go off plan because I don't show it. That could be. Bill says, take it and throw it in the trash. So, you could take it out of politeness and then dispose of it out of sight. You could also, maybe someone at home that would want it, like, oh, no thanks, but my relative or roommate or whatever might enjoy it. I mean, those are some ways to get around it, but I mean, if it's in your possession, if it's going to be a temptation for you, then I wouldn't even do that, because that kind of flies against the advice we talked about earlier about keeping that stuff away from you if you can't control that temptation, so you might just have to say no and just stick to your guns. So I shouldn't say stick to your guns, but you know what I mean? That's figure of speech. Brad Hagan says, started carnivore Saturday after Thanksgiving. Will not cheat. 15 pounds down. All joint pain gone. Ain't going back.
Congratulations.
Yep. Awesome. Welcome aboard, brother. Awesome.
It's amazing how fast the pain goes away.
It is.
You hear that more than any other comment, I think,
Yeah. And the first thing to go was that pain and inflammation. So probably even before the weight, just cleaning up the diet, and pain and inflammation was the first thing to really was very noticeable right away, for me at least. Kitchen Witch says, had to tell someone once that it's like offering an alcoholic a drink. Don't you get it? That's a good analogy too. That might work, like that's a good point. Hey, if I was an alcoholic, would it be proper for you to offer me a drink? If I was trying to quit smoking, would it be proper for you to offer me a cigarette? Well, I'm trying to quit sugar or junk food. Is it really proper for you to offer that to me? I'm asking you, please stop.
That brings up another philosophy of this. Let's just say you went 2 hours with no sugar. If you just did 2 hours, you can do another 2 hours. At the end of that 2 hours, you can do another 2 hours. You just take it one bite at a time. There was a guy on there.
Or one lack of bite at a time.
Yeah. Right, exactly. And good catch there. There was a guy on the radio back in the 80s. He used to have people quit smoking right on the air. He says, okay, next 15 minutes, don't smoke a cigarette. Mm-hmm. Then you bring him back on the air 15 minutes. He says, how'd you do? I did it. And now you're going to go 30 minutes. He kept doubling it. And he said, you just went 3 hours without a cigarette. And he says, yeah, I normally would have had 3 or 4 in this evening, And he said, well, you're on your way. Call you tomorrow. And sugar is the most addictive substance there is.
That made me think when I quit smoking. So I smoked from like 11th grade until I was about 25, 93 to 2000. And when we decided to quit, the first 3 days were probably the hardest. And then once I made it 3 days, I was like, okay, I can do this. And then 3 weeks, then 3 months, and then 3 years. For some reason, I remember those in that order. 3 days, and I was like, I can do, 3 days was the toughest. Once I was past 3 days, it's kind of in the clear. Like, I made it 3 days. I know I can do this. And after 3 weeks, I'm like, I've gone 3 weeks. Why go back now? After 3 months, I was like, I'm pretty confident now I'm never going to smoke again. But I still liked the smell of it. So I could be at work and I'd stand next to my coworker who was smoking, and I'm like, I loved it. And then, but after about 3 years, now it's repulsive to me. Now I can't stand the smell. So I just remember everything in sets of threes: 3 days, 3 days, 3 weeks, 3 months, 3 years. Now I'm 3 weeks past soda. And so, and I used to hate this water stuff. And now I've developed a taste for it. And I'm like, okay, I've gone 3 weeks. I don't need to have a Diet Mountain Dew or Diet Coke ever again. I'm fine with teas and waters. By the way, today I'm drinking Polar. I know over the last couple of weeks, I've bubbled over, pun intended, about Saratoga, and it is good. I bought a case of it, but I started trying different brands. Like I'm meh on LaCroix, bubbly, Waterloo, but I got some stuff called Polar, and most of these Polars are excellent. They're aggressive as far as the carbonation goes, which I really like. And so I've been drinking these flavored Polars, and I absolutely love it. I was like, so now that I'm enjoying these, and I could probably go back and maybe enjoy a LaCroix, Waterloo, or bubbly now that it's been several weeks and I'm getting a taste for it. But now that I've acquired a taste for it, there's no point in going back to soda, because what I really liked was the bubbles. I like carbonation. So I'm 3 weeks now, or maybe even a little more than 3 weeks now, completely soda free.
That's huge.
It is, because I've been a diet soda addict all my life.
Yep.
I was a soda addict until like middle school, and then I switched to diet. And I could suck down easily a 12-pack a day sometimes. So, and then I was doing the research, like, the amount of aspartame is well below the maximum of what's considered potentially dangerous in rats. It's actually 20 cans. And I'm thinking, like, there's some days I might have got close to that. That's kind of scary. So years ago, Thomas Jamet says, was going to help a neighbor on the 1st. I said no, as they'll be celebrating your carniversary. And okay, yeah, that's right. Tom Target Prime Rib has his 1-year carniversary on January 1st, and I'm sure he'll be doing a YouTube thing, as this comment verifies.
Yep.
Yeah. Lambs, lay out your situation. Just explain what you're struggling with and be open about it. Most people understand. Try to help. Yep. Alcohol cravings and sugar cravings feel exactly the same. I would agree with that. And I didn't realize what the addiction really was until 6 months into my diet. My wife made pumpkin bread, and it was my mom's recipe. You've heard me say this before. And she's like, will you have a slice? And I'm like, no. She's like, would you at least have a bite and tell me if it's like how your mom used to make it? I said, okay, I'll have a bite. And if this was October, and I started my carnivore diet in May, and so it was 10 minus 3, about 7 months. So I had one bite of that pumpkin bread, and in about 3 minutes after swallowing it, all of a sudden I felt voraciously hungry and had tremors. And it was like withdrawal symptoms, addictive symptoms, but I had to go downstairs, and I'm like eating sticks. I'm eating butter right off the stick. I'm like shoving cheese and pepperoni in my mouth. I'm trying to do anything I can to satisfy the hunger, but it just like nothing would put the fire out. Finally it did. I mean, I got too full, but it was the weirdest thing ever. And then I had it happen a second time too. And a couple months later, my son wanted to try a bite of his sandwich that he made where he was working, and he wanted me to try it. And I had a bite, and same thing, voracious hunger symptoms. And that was at Panera Bread. I had no choice. I had to get a salad because there's like nothing else that was like remotely there to satisfy me, while the rest of the family was eating their bready stuff, which I wasn't going to do. But wow, what a mistake. Now that doesn't happen anymore, but oh my gosh, I'll never forget that feeling. And I'm thinking that must be exactly what an addict feels.
Mm-hmm.
When
because you are an addict.
Right. That was
You know,
Hey.
if anybody that follows Mitch remembers what he went through after he got out of the hospital from his stroke, how tough it was, because they fed him nothing but junk in that hospital.
Mhm.
And, you know, Mitch's alone didn't have nobody that could just bring him food. And so he had to eat what they offered him, and he ate ice cream, this, that, and the other thing. He got home and he was right, and he admitted it. He's right back addicted again. And he's one that from the beginning has always preached that he has an addiction. He is a carb addict, you know, and he feels about it exactly the same way I do. You know, one of the things that drew me to him was how close we are in our philosophies and our theories and in our styles on doing this. And you know, I'm a carb addict, and that was something he preached all the time, that he was a carbohydrate addict. And there's only one way you can beat an addiction: you have to abstain. You can't moderate.
Yeah.
And he proved that when he came back from the hospital. He was addicted again, and he tried to moderate. He tried making Kiltz's ice cream, but he says, well, I'll just moderate, you know, the sweetness, you know, with some blueberries. And he was going through a bag of blueberries a day. You know, it was eating him up. And he had to go back to the basics again and realize, I can't do this. I have to completely abstain. You can't moderate. You know, it's like an alcoholic saying, yeah, I don't drink whiskey anymore. You know, I just drink a beer now and then. Well, you're still an addict. You can't do it.
Yeah, absolutely. Jabet asks, where's Rick and Milton tonight? Rick, would you like to answer that?
Rick is here and Milton is right in front of me. He's looking at me.
There he is.
Is he gonna
Milton's
attack
back.
you again?
I hope not. Come here, Milton.
Milton ran away the other day.
Here's my Milton.
Oh, yeah?
Oh yeah, Milton was missing in action.
He got out? Do you let him out, or is he an indoor cat? There he is.
He went female hunting.
Oh, okay.
Right, Rick?
Look at that.
Uh,
Milton discovered the neighborhood calico cat,
oh, yeah?
but she's fixed, so the joke's on him. And he's going to be fixed pretty soon, I hope.
Yeah. I was to say, is he an indoor cat, or do you let him out?
He's an indoor cat, but I let him outside when I'm out there because I don't want him cooped up all day. So he goes in the yard. He generally behaves. But on Sunday, he got a little wacky. Sunday was the day a few weeks ago that he bit the extension cord. And I think when his hormones kick in, he probably thinks of that extension cord. He was getting kind of feisty, and he scratched my hand, and he was making noises. So I let him out, try to run some energy off. And then he ran away, and you know, he was gone, and it was probably about 8 o'clock. I opened the door, and he ran back in.
Went tomcatting around.
Oh, yeah. Wiggling his tail, spraying everything. It's like, yeah, Milton, you got to get fixed.
So, Bob, for everybody that was admiring Ginger, I sent you a picture of what she loves to do best. I don't have the ability to post it up here, so I sent you a text.
Oh, okay. Let's see here. All right, let me see if I can get that over to my computer. Download. I'll see if I can't move that around.
You get those.
Oh, wait a minute. You know what? Don't I have that?
You get those bolts out, Rick?
I still got 2 I can't get out. I don't know. And I got the bolts out of the other head. It won't come off the block. I'm having a hard time with that thing. It's got to be warped. I've never had a block I couldn't get the bolts out of. I broke my breaker bar. I stripped my ratchet. I'm going to have to go back to Harbor Freight and get another breaker bar.
I'm trying to get this photo here.
Yeah, I seen you struggling with it. Wish I was closer. I'd bring my impact over.
Well, I tried the Impact, and the funny thing is, all it does is vibrate and break sockets. I don't know what's up with that thing. It's like it'll go out a little bit, then it gets tighter. Then I screw it in, it gets a little bit looser. Then it gets tighter. I don't know what's going on. What I got to do is get the breaker bar on there and start rocking it back and forth.
Well, there's Ginger doing what she loves doing best, and that's trailing my deer for me after I shoot him.
There we go. Dogs.
Oh, wow.
Dogs on the clock there, working.
Yep.
Mm-hmm.
That's her favorite
That's
thing
good.
to do. And she's good
Oh
at
yeah, I
it. Too.
bet.
She's got
That's
a
a
heck
good
of a nose.
photo.
She can follow a blood trail like anything I've ever seen.
Someone's got a lot of meat there.
Ginger supports the lion diet.
Yeah, she does.
Way cool.
All right, very nice. Let's see here. Oh, Jamette says, Rick, watched your bike rides. Hope you're feeling upbeat as you're my caveman carnivore.
I'm back to normal. The hot weather isn't great, but it'll cool off soon.
Mm-hmm. Retired Rick is in the house. Hi, Retired Rick. All right. All right. So, anything new going on in the world of Charger Mopar other than your cat getting out? Did you have your barbecue today with your friends?
No, we didn't have one in person. I had an online Zoom meeting with some of my friends that are out of state. All I do is hear complaints about how cold it is, and one of the pipes frozen, and then the heater's acting up. I don't know. It's just one thing after the other, and I'm complaining I don't have a truck and I have to ride a bike. And one friend's like, "Man, it's so cold. Even my friend in Georgia over there, it's got cold."
Mm-hmm.
I don't know. I'm the only place that's still hot.
Going back to when to restart if you fell off the wagon, Bacon Runner, just start now. It is Monday. So don't wait till Monday. It is Monday. So the wait's over. And January 1st is on a Thursday, so you'll probably want to put it off to start the next Monday. And that's exactly right. And it becomes less likely that you'll actually start to do that. And so if you're always trying to set the date in the future when you're going to start, you're always going to find reasons to push it back. So that's what Bacon Runner is laying out is absolutely true for a lot of people. So just start now. Absolutely.
Start from where you're at.
Mm-hmm. Start from where you're at. Yep. I think last week I gave the illustration of if you were running the race, you're running the carnivore race. That's what we're all doing. The health and nutrition race or the keto race or whatever. Where you're running the race, you trip and you fall. You don't sit there and be like, with your face in the dirt, go, "Oh, wow, look, I fell down. What should I do? Well, maybe I'll get back up tomorrow. Maybe I'll roll over and get back on my feet Monday." No, what do you do if you trip and fall? You get up right then and you continue the race.
Tomorrow never comes.
Right. And you got to treat your diet the same way. So you fell off. Hey, it's not the end of the world. Unless you stay on the ground with your face in the dirt.
Slip on the duck poop and fall in the duck food.
Right. Yeah. So you can't bury your head in the sand and say, "I'll take it out on Monday." Nope. Just hey, you get up, brush the dust off, keep running, man. That's the way to treat it. So Kitchen Witch did a 48-hour fast with Barb. It was a great reset. All right. Now we got 14 likes and 38 watching right now. We're at 38. We were up over 40 for a while. Yeah, hit that like button, please. That would be a wonderful thing. So if you like us here, hit that like button. All right. Let's see here. Brad Hagen says stopped coffee, have also always drank coffee. He doesn't miss it and has no more heartburn. Good for you. I quit coffee in July 2019. So it is this July, it will be 7 years coffee free for me. Very good. Rick, are you a coffee drinker? No?
No, I hate it.
All right.
All I drink is ice water.
Mm-hmm.
I don't even know what heartburn is.
I didn't think so, but I thought I'd ask anyway, because there's a lot of carnivores out there that can't break up with their coffee, and then that's fine. I'm not saying you have to.
I gave up the coffee shortly after I became a carnivore, and a year later, I gave up tea.
Yeah, if so, the coffee bothered me. Like, my health dramatically improved when I quit coffee. But if you are a cup here and there, a cup in the morning, and that's it, and it doesn't really phase you any, I'm not gonna, just like I'm not gonna knock you for cheating on your Christmas dinner, I'm not gonna knock you for drinking coffee. So, but if we got into the subject, I'm very anti-coffee. But if you like it, that's up to you. I do drink tea.
My mother used to drink coffee, and I went through a lot to make her the best coffee. I even grew some coffee myself. So I'm quite familiar with the process. But when Mom died, that was it. I don't even know what I did with a coffee maker. One of those little espresso machines. It's somewhere around here. I was going to give it to a friend, but he didn't want it.
Here's a good question from Feral Grandma. Anyone else staying in and making carnivore party foods for New Year's Eve? So I haven't even given it any thought. Actually, I mean, New Year's Eve for me is just going to be another day.
Yeah.
I will stay up, and I will try to stay up and watch the ball drop, and I'll watch the Dick Clark's Rockin' Eve with Ryan Seacrest or something, and I'll watch all the musical artists who are all going to suck, and I'm going to be like, what's wrong with this generation? And I do this every year. I just torture myself. I'm like, what are people listening to these days? Oh, garbage. And every once in a while, there's like an artist that's actually pretty decent. So I'll torture myself with that. I'll try and stay up to watch the ball drop. I might fall asleep. I don't do anything special, especially out in public. I'm not going to go out there where people are being crazy and, get shot or something. So yeah, I'm staying in. But carnivore snack ideas, that's good. And you know what? That made me think of, usually every winter at Sam's Club, there's these seasonal hors d'oeuvre kits. And one of them, which I love because it's very carnivore friendly, it'll be a shrimp with a piece of cheese on it, wrapped in bacon, and a toothpick slid through it. And you bake them in the oven for like 30 minutes, and it comes out crispy, and you just, there's absolutely delicious. They did not come out this year. But how hard is that to make?
Yeah.
I can take a shrimp, I can stick a piece of cheese in it, I can wrap it in bacon and stick a toothpick through it, and I can throw it in the oven. So when you said anybody make carnivore party foods, I'm like, yeah, I can make those. I have a bag of shrimp. Yeah, I got a bag of shrimp in the freezer.
Yeah, I do too. Yeah, that might be worth trying.
Yeah, they're super tasty.
Yeah,
and this year they never came out. What's that?
Yeah, it's just another day to us. It's no big deal. But it's, down here in the South, it's tradition that you eat black-eyed peas and cabbage and cornbread and all. And I have never in my life liked black-eyed peas.
Disgusting.
I've never liked it. And
they're a terrible music group too.
Yeah, I've just never cared for it, so it's no big deal for me to give that up. That's for darn sure.
So I don't make a big deal of like any holidays really. And when I got married or met my wife, my mother-in-law, hopefully she's not watching. She introduced, let me put it gently. She introduced me to some things that I had never heard of before. Some of it are superstitions, and one of them was revolving around New Year's Eve or New Year's Day. I guess it's New Year's Day. I guess you're supposed to eat sauerkraut and kielbasa on New Year's Day, and that somehow would translate into that would mean you're going to come across money or have a good financial year in the year ahead.
Cabbage represents money.
Oh, okay. Yeah. So
it's good luck to eat cabbage for the new year to bring you money. Black-eyed peas would what's superstition on that? I forget exactly. Just bring you luck, I guess. Well, I guess it's just bring you luck. Where that came about was black-eyed peas used to be cattle fodder. That's what you fed your livestock in the South. And in the Civil War, when Sherman made the massive march to the sea and destroyed everything, as he was coming down to Georgia, he was wiping out all the livestock stores so that the Southerners couldn't feed their livestock. He was wiping out all the food supplies. So the Southerners couldn't feed their families. He was starving everybody out. And so in his great march to the sea, he's wiping out everybody's food supply. And he gets down there and he thinks he's just done a great job. He's wiped all the food supply out and he's going to starve the South out. What he didn't do is he didn't wipe out the cattle feed. He didn't wipe out the livestock feed. And the black-eyed peas was there. And so they ate the black-eyed peas, and that's what sustained them. Well, that is now a tradition, which has now become a superstition, that we eat black-eyed peas on New Year's, for good luck, because it's what brought the South luck and allowed them to feed themselves. But they can keep it. I still don't like it. I'll go out and hunt me a deer. I'll go kill a rabbit.
Yes. So that's something I had never heard of before. And of course that's absolute, total malarkey, but if that's your tradition, if you think about it, kielbasa, well, that's carnivore, and sauerkraut is a fermented vegetable. So if you wanted to
if I was going to make any kind of carnivore snack, I'll tell you a good one. Now, this is what my daughter and my son-in-law fixed for hors d'oeuvres on Christmas. I don't know if you've ever heard of pig shots.
Mm-mm.
Okay. So what you do is you take a Lincoln sausage, like a kielbasa or some type of sausage like that. Find some clean sausage if you can, and you cut it to about a 1/2-inch slice, and then you wrap that with enough bacon to go all the way around it, and stick a toothpick through it. Well, so now you'll have the sausage on the bottom, but you'll have a gap above the sausage that bacon will form what looks like a shot glass.
Mm-hmm.
You fill that shot glass with whatever you want, usually a cream cheese mixture, just like you would do with like jalapeno poppers, something like that. And if you want, if you can tolerate a slice of jalapeno, you put a slice of jalapeno on that, and then you smoke those. For those that don't have a smoker, you can stick them in the oven and heat them up, but you smoke those until that bacon is done. And then you serve them, and they are delicious.
Yeah, that sounds good.
Pretty close to carnivore if you don't count the cream cheese or what you put in the cream cheese. It's pretty good stuff.
Yeah, that sounds tasty.
It is. Look them up online. There's plenty of videos on them, I'm sure. They're called pig shots. They're called shots because they're all made from pig, and they look like shots.
Yeah. You pay attention to your cream cheese labels, because some of them are double or triple the carbs of the Philly. The Philly's pretty clean, but your store brand may have 3 times as many carbs.
You're exactly right. I've looked at the labels on those. You're right.
Yeah. And Philly's more expensive, but it's cleaner. So I go to the deli and I get the sandwich pepperoni sliced nice and thick, and like maybe a hard salami or a Genoa salami sliced nice and thick. Only a couple slices. They're very nice. They do it for me. I brown them in the frying pan, flip them over, and I put pizza toppings on them, like pepperoni, and I'll take and make a maybe ricotta cheese or the mixture of spices. Put that on there, a little mozzarella, a little Parmesan, and I just put the lid on the frying pan, do them right on top of the stove. And they're kind of like a mini little meat pizza, but there's no no carbs, hardly. Good snack food.
What's a snack?
Yeah, well, I don't. Yeah. I was thinking that while I said it, and I don't snack anymore. You know, it's a behavior. It's kind of like, the people who smoke. When they stop smoking, they gotta have something to do with their hands. We're so used to doing this, just constantly feeding our faces.
I always eat 3 times a day. I never get hungry between meals.
Yeah. Right.
Has anyone seen my heart attack burger?
Oh yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
I saw Amy's when you guys made one together. She shared that last week or the week before on here.
Yeah.
Last week, yep.
That was cool.
It's delicious too if you can eat it. Most people can't.
I like the cooking technique. That was a good idea.
Oh yeah, that's the way I do it. I try to do everything the easy way. You can see, like when I'm cooking my lunch, I walk away from it. I don't stand over the stove. I got that down to a science.
Well, that's one of the beauties of carnivore is the simplicity of it. You can make it as tough or as easy as you want.
Mm-hmm. That's right. It's so simple.
Speaking of simple, Jeff, I started to fix that roast in the smoker, and I just had so much to do. I put it in the slow cooker. 4 hours later, I had wonderful ribeye roast. That slow cooker is so easy.
Oh yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
Now, do you have a pellet grill?
I have a pellet box.
Yeah.
And I've got a smoker that's still sitting in the garage. I haven't put it up, so I use the grill for when I smoke. But I just didn't want to deal with it this time.
Yeah, those are pretty nice and pretty simple to use. We call them easy bake ovens down here. Now me, I've got an offset smoker, a wood burner, so I've got to monitor it constantly. But smoking meat is the only way to go. I don't care what it is. We got some family coming down in a couple of weeks. We're gonna have a big get together down here, and I'm gonna be thawing out a bunch of steaks, from my cattle, and I'll be smoking up those steaks just to give everybody a treat. It's just the only way to go.
So how do you smoke steaks?
Simple. I'll put a dry rub on them, let them sit overnight. Next day, I just throw them on the smoker at 250 degrees, smoke them till they get to an internal of what I like, which for me, I'll pull them at about 125 to 130. And they need them. That's all there is to it. Don't have to do anything special to them. When you pull them off, they don't look like they're cooked because they don't have a sear on them.
You're right.
They're just full of flavor. And I've tried putting a sear on them afterwards, and it takes the smoke away. I've tried putting a sear on them and then smoking them, and I just don't get as good a smoke. Just plain smoke, cook them, just smoke them at 250 degrees till you hit an internal of what you like. And I like 125 to 130. I like rare, and let them rest for 15, 20 minutes, and then eat them. Absolutely wonderful.
How long does that take?
What do you use for a rub?
It takes less than an hour. It'll take less than an hour. In fact, you got to watch it. You got to be careful. I'll start checking mine at a half hour. And I do it with hamburgers too. I'll make up hamburgers, throw them on there, and I'll cook. Now, hamburgers, I'll cook them to about 140, 145 and pull them. You cook them any longer than that, they'll get dry. But smoked hamburger, it's the only way to eat a hamburger now. Anyways, you were asking, Paul?
What rub do you use?
I don't. I use
Oh,
salt.
I thought you said you rubbed them with a dry
I
rub.
no. I do a dry brine.
Oh, okay. All right. Okay. All right.
I'll put salt on them, put them
Yeah.
back in the
Yeah.
fridge uncovered, and just
All
dry
right.
brine them overnight.
Okay. All right. Cool.
Like that way they soak in that salt.
Yeah.
So
All
Jeff,
right,
I have a
thank you.
question. I have a cousin who he smokes. He doesn't wrap. Do you wrap?
Yeah.
I mean,
A lot of it depends on what I'm doing. Now, if I'm just like cooking a steak, there's no need to wrap it. I want all that smoke infused on it. If I'm cooking a brisket or if I'm cooking ribs, now ribs I use 3-2-1 method. I will smoke them for 3 hours unwrapped, 2 hours wrapped, and then I open it back up for an hour to let the meat tighten back up on the bone. That's 3-2-1 method. On a brisket, and I can send you my recipe if you want. On
Please.
a brisket, okay. On a brisket, I will put my salt on it. I'll stick it on the smoker and I'll smoke it till it hits an internal and smoke it 250. And I'll smoke it till I hit an internal of about 163, give or take 160 to 165, give or take. And then I'll wrap it, and I prefer using the butcher paper, and because I think butcher paper still allows smoke to get to it, whereas if you wrap it in foil, it kind of seals it off too much, and it'll kind of make the bark mushy. So I use the pink paper or butcher paper that we call it, wrap it, and I get that temperature up to 203. Now it's going to hit a stall. It'll hit a stall usually around 180 or so, and it'll take a little while to get over that stall. But once it gets over that stall, I pull it off at 203. Then when I take it out, I put it in a cooler and let it rest in the cooler for at least an hour or more.
But you smoke it unwrapped up to about 160.
About 160 to 165, yeah. That way it gets a good infusion of smoke and it gets a good bark on it. And then I'll go ahead and wrap it because the wrapping helps get it over the stall. And I don't put anything in with it. Some people put butter in with it. Some people put some apple cider vinegar or spray it or something. I don't do nothing like that. Mine is just salt, smoke it to 160, 165, wrap it in pink paper, and then bring it up to 203. 203, put it in the cooler, still wrapped, let it rest, for a good hour, and then pull it out and carve it. And you better have a very sharp knife when you carve it.
That's interesting that it's 203.
203.
You got it down to a science.
Yep. Not 198, not 200, 203. Now, with that being said, there's been times when I've had a difficult brisket because they're all different. And I've had a difficult brisket, and I've got company, we want to eat, and my brisket's not getting to 203. It's stalling out on me, and I hit 198. I'll go ahead and pull it, and it's still good. But there's 203 is the magic mark when it is just mouth-watering butter in your mouth. It's just
that's good to know.
It's the perfect thing. But I'll send you my recipe.
Okay, great.
It's real simple. There's not much to it.
Thank you.
All right, very nice. Lambs asked, knowing that all healthy and grass-fed mammals and all wild-caught fish have loads of visceral fat, what are your thoughts of visceral fat being toxic in humans? I haven't heard of such a thing.
No, I don't know that they have so much visceral fat, because the thing is, when you are eating a species-specific diet, you don't gain that type of fat. Visceral fat comes on in humans simply because we're eating wrong. We're not eating a species-specific diet. At least that's my thoughts on it. I do a lot of hunting. I raise my own animals, and some animal, the animals I hunt, a lot of them I'll butcher myself. I'm going to gut them all before even if I let a processor handle it, I'm still going to gut my own. I don't see visceral fat on my deer. I don't see it on my pigs. What I see, yes, I see internal fat, but that is suet. That is the fat around the kidneys. That is the good fat that you want to keep for yourselves. I don't throw that away. I keep that. But I don't see visceral fat. I will see, like in the wintertime when I shoot a deer, I'll see some fat in them, under their skin and whatnot. That's their external fat. That's what's keeping them warm from the cold. And then I'll see the fat around the kidneys. That's the suet. Same thing with the pigs. That's the good fat. It's not a visceral fat. So I don't see it. And the animals that I raise, when I butcher one of them, whether it's a goat, a sheep, or a cow, once again, I'll see the marbling, I'll see the fat, but I don't see a lot of visceral. I see the suet, and that's totally different.
And then I was just thinking about this question. So like visceral fat, I don't think any fat is toxic in the sense of like harmful to consume.
No, in fact, like I said, what I'm seeing, and I guess you can call what I find around the kidneys visceral fat, but that's not what we call it. It's called suet. And that is the prized fat that we use to render and get our cooking fat, to get our tallow. That is the prized stuff. Now, the fat that we cut off of the steaks and whatnot, the trimmings from cutting steaks and butchering the cattle, we can use those for tallow. In fact, I do. But the prize fat is the fat that's around the kidneys, that visceral fat. And that's the only internal fat that I find.
But if we think of having too much visceral fat on your body, that is sometimes referred to as toxic, because if you possess a lot of visceral fat, that could lead to chronic inflammation and other issues. So visceral fat's not toxic to cut open, cook, and eat as a meal, but you don't want to be huge and overweight with a lot of visceral fat around your own organs. That would be a sign that you're probably not very healthy. And
yes, you're going to have internal fat. You're going if you're exposed to cold all the time, you're going to have brown fat, which is a very good fat. It's what keeps you warm. But that internal fat is what's protecting your organs from the cold. But a species-specific diet will keep that to only what you need, and you won't have excess. Humans are the ones that get the excess. And our animals get the excess when we feed them wrong. Like your dogs, when you see your dog's belly, dragging the ground when it walks across the floor. They're going to have visceral fat because we fed them wrong. We didn't feed them a species-specific diet. But every animal that I have ever opened up, and I've opened up a lot of them, hundreds of them, I've never seen an overabundance of fat. I've only seen what they needed for their health.
Very good. So I hope that helps. Brad Hagan says his goal for 2026 is to see how many cows he can eat. All right, let us know. I imagine it'll be one.
Yeah.
Well, depends on the cow breed.
Yeah, that's true. Feral grandmother says, I'm going to make deviled eggs, prosciutto cream cheese gushers, shrimp, and some cubes of A5 Wagyu. I'll sort out if I'm browning them or what. A small dish of smoked flake salt. Behaving will be easy. Very good. Sounds like it's a party at your house New Year's Eve.
Hey, let's go ahead for Texas.
Very nice.
So where is Feral Grandma at in Texas?
Yeah, Feral Grandma, if you could answer that.
I saw a comment earlier where she said there's not many buffalo in Texas. I'm going to say, well, I got two of them.
Yeah. Yeah. Where are you at?
I'm butchering, but I got two.
Or if you don't want to state your exact town, if just nearby big town, something like that, if you want to let them know.
Well, I'll state where I'm at. I'm in Hyco. I'm an hour and a half south of Fort Worth.
There you go. All right. Y'all can stalk him now. He'll probably cook you a nice meal. All right. Brad says, I feel so good. I'm going to be a carnivore preacher. That is what we become.
Yes. Spread the word. Spread the gospel of carnivore.
Yeah. Yeah. That happens. That happens to the most of us. So we get such good results. We can't keep it to ourselves. Alexis Jones says, I haven't told any of my workmates about my schizophrenia, but they know I'm doing it for mental health reasons. Maybe they don't think it's a big deal. I just have to put my foot down. Yeah, put your foot down. And you don't even have to bring that up. You can just say, you're doing it for mental health reasons. Do you take medication? You could say that you're not. Here's an idea. You could say you're not supposed to eat the sugary or whatever it is they're offering you with the medication you take. You could say that, and that might get them off your back too. So I can't eat that with the medication I'm on for my depression. There we go. You've kind of kept it bland, low key, not specific, and that might be enough to get them to really think about what they're doing. So just a thought. Just a thought.
It's a good idea.
Yeah. Brad says, I did keto plants, caused my kidney stones. Why I'm on carnivore. Can't compare keto to carnivore, not even close. So if you have sensitivity towards, lectins, oxalates, and a zillion other chemicals, carnivore is going to be the way for you. I am not anti-keto. I am not anti-animal based. And I'm actually not anti-vegetarian or I'm pro anything you're doing to advance your health. So I know a lot of people who do keto, and they do, and keto has done wonders for them. So carnivore is kind of like keto to the max, and then lion diet is like carnivore to the max, So, but yeah, some people can't do keto, or they can't do certain aspects of keto, like, cause keto in general, that allows you to have a salad, that allows you to have broccoli and Brussels sprouts and asparagus and spinach. But then some people, they eat spinach and the oxalates in it make them very sick, cause flare-ups, pain, kidney stones, things like that. So you're absolutely right. What keto allows might not be good for you, but it could be just fine for someone else. But I'm with you. I lean more towards I call it carnivore centric. I'm 95% carnivore. So Lamb says, I haven't used butter for ages. I use lard and tallow for everything I cook, all coming from pork belly and fatty beef.
Good for you. There you go.
Yeah, that's good. I was in another chat earlier today, and someone mentioned that they were doing the lion diet, but was sad that they wouldn't be able to use butter. And I think you could still use butter. So butter comes from a ruminant animal. If you wanted to be that strict, use tallow. But I don't think you're gonna be like not on a lion diet if you melted some butter in your pan to cook your steak in. I don't think that's going to be that big of a deal. So all those of you doing lion diet in January, tell me if you agree or if you disagree. Will you use butter or will you avoid butter?
Well, I'm not going to be eating butter, and I eat probably a stick and a half of butter a day.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
But I'm going to be eating tallow and a lot of bone broth with tallow in it, and the bone broth with tallow I'm adding already to this right here is butter coffee, and I live on butter coffee, and so I'm putting in this for the past week. I've been putting bone broth in, more bone broth than the coffee, just kind of weaning myself off of it. So in 2 days, 3 days, I'll be doing bone broth and tallow instead of the coffee. I'll still have my hot drink, and I just love my hot coffee and with the butter. And so I'm giving it up for a month and substituting, and no butter, no coffee, but tallow and beef bone broth instead.
All right. Very nice.
Sounds good.
So sounds like a good plan. I like it. Bride's Biscuit says, I got a solid Halide filter and drink water all day whenever thirsty. That's all I drink. So my appreciation for water has increased in the last several weeks. I have a ice machine that makes little pebble ice. I love ice cold water and chewing on that ice. I have a pure filter. That's the pitcher that you pour it into the top and it filters through into the bottom. I want to get a reverse osmosis system, but that's the type of filter I'm using now. I'd have to look up what a Halide filter is. So,
Halide, probably.
Halide
Yeah.
filter. Is that how you pronounce it? Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah. Let me type it in over here. See if I can Halide filter search.
Yeah, I've got reverse osmosis on mine. Just about got to with the well water.
Okay. All right. Oh, and all the images that came up don't make any sense to me without studying it. So, all right, yeah, I'll have to check what that is. Brad says I don't miss coffee. Drink hot water instead. Breaks done. Food better try out. Okay, all right. So he's gonna go chow down. That's interesting. I have a friend who also quit coffee and drinks hot water every morning. He had Crohn's disease. And that's why he quit coffee. I had ulcerative colitis. That's why I quit coffee. And but that's helped him. So he wakes up and he heats up water, drinks hot water. That's his hot drink for the day.
Well, I think that's why I quit coffee, because one of the things when I had Crohn's before I started Carnivore, that's one of the things they told me to do is quit drinking coffee. And so, it was tearing me up so bad I quit drinking the coffee. And then after I started Carnivore and I reversed my Crohn's, I went back and tried drinking coffee and it just tasted nasty to me.
Mm-hmm.
Did not taste good at all. And I'm like, what did I ever see in this? But I still wanted that caffeine fix,
Mm-hmm.
So I went to drinking tea. Of course, then, like I said, it was a year later, I decided I didn't want the tea controlling me anymore. So I got off the caffeine.
All right. Feral Grandmother says pepperoni crisps nicely for those of us tired of pork rinds. I've a lot of my keto friends, they just take the pepperonis, throw them in the microwave, and they'll get crispy right in there. Feral Grandmother uses a big rimmed sheet in the oven. That probably comes out much better. Or on paper towels, at the microwave. Okay, that's the route I'm familiar with. Air fryer would probably be fine. Air fryer would probably work. That's a good idea. Yeah, pepperoni chips, pepperoni crisps, or salami. That'll crisp up just the same way because it's basically the same thing. Jamette says I make meatball and sausage bites. So yum. Yeah. So speaking of air fryer recipes, one thing I'll do is I'll make meatballs, from ground beef, and I can cut a cube of cheese in the center, wrap it up inside the ball, put that in the air fryer and make it. And then so when you eat it, you bite into it, it's a meatball, but then it's got this gooey, cheesy center. Those are nice and tasty, easy snack to make, or meal if you make enough of them. And there's a comment here on chewing ice. I chew ice. I'm an ice chewer. It came up because someone spotted Rick chewing ice. So it's all good. Feral Grandmother says I fold some prosciutto around a piece of cream cheese, put it on a hot griddle to brown it. When you eat it, the salt hits hard, and then the cream cheese rushes out. That sounds good too. So I like that. You got all kinds of New Year's Eve party snack ideas. Bryce Brisket says jalapenos are low oxalate. They're the one nightshade I still eat on occasion.
Same.
I'll eat a jalapeno once in a while. So
I had a few I made some carnivore nachos today and put a few slices of pickled jalapenos on there.
Mm-hmm.
I have jalapenos about once a month. It's my only cheat food.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Okay. Now here's
little green fruit.
Now here's an interesting comment from someone who probably doesn't know us very well. Mediterranean diet says Homo sapiens were never hypercarnivore. The first Homo sapiens ate high fiber, 80% plants. Homo erectus ate carnivore and bugs. They died before 30 and never talked, no language. So
well, that's not what the anthropological evidence shows, but believe what you want.
Yeah. So I'll stand here and state quite confidently that I think almost every one of those points are wrong. So there's plenty of evidence that, Homo anything, whatever they've dug up and they think are human relatives of one form or another, they've all been tested for isotopes and stuff, and have been revealed to have a very high animal protein diet, and
yeah, in fact,
and then you can also dig up the archaeological sites, and you find tools designed for hunting, tools designed for slicing and dicing. You find animal bones with marks on them from the cutting and the filleting and everything like that. So
yeah, Anthony Chafee just did a video on this earlier this week, talking about this very thing, and explaining how when they test the bones that they find, they can see what they used to eat. From testing the bones. I don't know how they do it, all that scientific stuff, but they've got absolute positive proof that the major part of our ancestral diets were meat.
You telling me I'm going to die at 30?
Right. So yeah,
well, you're going to have to go backwards a little bit, ain't you?
And so that's a good point. Mediterranean D is, Rick here on the screen who just made that comment. He's been carnivore for nearly 45 years. And so he's way past 30 and he's not dead yet.
Yeah.
And you are, so you know what? You are correct that Homo erectus had a lifespan of about 30 years.
Yeah, Homo Rick ate meat for over 40 years.
I'd get offended if somebody called me Homo erectus.
So no, that they do assume. Now remember, all this stuff is based on assumptions. They get ways of coming to these conclusions. But yeah, Homo erectus probably lived about 30 years on average. How closely related are they to modern humans? I don't know. I'm not really big into the evolution thing. Okay. Certain aspects of it make sense. Certain other aspects of it don't. But the testing ancient Homo sapiens, hypercarnivore, absolutely. Were they, does that mean that they were exclusive carnivore? Absolutely not. No. Okay. So no, this is the problem with labels. Okay. Herbivore, omnivore, carnivore, hypercarnivore, facultative carnivore, ketovore, blah, 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 blah. Like humans have been very meat centric for about as long as humans have been around. Humans have also eaten plants and fruits for as long as humans have been around. And then pre-Homo organisms, they were definitely more plant-based, so if you believe the evolution tale that we came from, Australopithecus and those things, then yeah, they were very plant-based, and that would make sense, as they transitioned more from plants to meat, supposedly that's why, we got bigger brains and developed and things like that.
Exactly.
That's the story. So,
and it's my understanding, and I see Feral Grandma just posted it up. Yeah, it's my understanding that when they take those compilations of how long people live, they're counting in all age groups. And early man had a high mortality rate in birth rates and in infants and young children, not to mention accidents. I mean, farming causes a lot of accidents. Plants kill farmers all the time because of accidents. Was it the plant killing them? Is it the farm machinery that's killing them? Yeah, it's the farm machinery. But if I want, I can say that plants kill humans. It's no different than saying, well, Homo erectus or Homo sapien. Homo erectus didn't live till 30 because they all died young. Well, it wasn't because of the food. It was because of other things. Don't count the food as being the bad guy here. It had nothing to do with the food. We have too many people living and thriving and have been for decades and centuries on nothing but meat. All you got to look at is man throughout history. Let's go to the Native Americans, primarily meat eaters, hunter-gatherers. There's a reason why hunting is put in first, hunter-gatherer. I've lived as a true Indian, as a true hunter-gatherer. I have done this. I have lived in the Texas wild doing nothing but living off the land as an Indian. And yes, you eat what you can. I've eaten acorns. I've eaten wild onions. I've eaten, all kinds of plants. But when you have meat available, that is your priority. And everything you do, your daily existence is centered around hunting meat, not gathering, but hunting meat. The gathering comes in when you can't get the meat. But when you get the meat, all that gathered stuff goes to the side.
Yep.
And that is how they lived. And I have lived just like them. They were meat eaters.
The hunters 10,000 years ago that we have dug up, they're about 8 inches taller than the Egyptians that we dug up that lived 5,000 years ago, and they started the agricultural revolution. Also, those skeletons 10,000 years ago, they had all their teeth.
Yep.
The skeletons 5,000 years ago that were part of the new grain farming and growing wheat, they had rotted teeth. So I don't know, 8 inches taller and all your teeth, hunters.
Well, okay, so go look at the two tribes that Anthony Chafee talks about over in Africa. The one that primarily eats nothing but a protein and fat, versus another village not too far from them that eat basically nothing but sweet potatoes. And then look at the difference in their sizes, their intelligence, their strength, their stamina. The meat wins out every time.
And I was a vegetarian, and I just got sick. I mean, I kept getting sicker, and I was aging fast. And when I gave all that up, I started aging backwards. And so, there's nobody's going to convince me that what I'm doing is wrong or unhealthy.
Same.
I just keep getting healthier.
Yep. I used to be a 66-year-old man that was just waiting to die. And now I'm a 69-year-old man that's just living life to the fullest.
Amen.
Praise the Lord.
Amen.
Yes, indeed.
Yeah.
Now, with that said, Mediterranean D also commented, I eat meat like you guys, just significantly less of it. That's fine. I'm 60% carbs.
You, bro.
Yeah, I'm 60% carbs, 25% protein, and 15% fat. That's fine.
If it works for you.
Yes, I have scheduled cheat days, usually just holidays with no ill effects. Great. So
I've reversed 16. I've reversed 16 different diseases in my body. Yep. 16 different conditions, including heart disease, Crohn's. No, there's others, but that's what I can come up with.
My periodontal disease.
Yeah.
I've reversed my.
I've got a list.
So I've dropped all kinds of weight. I feel better than I ever have before. And I'm on what I'd say 95, 97% carnivore diet. Okay. I am not anti-vegetable. I am not anti-fruit, so if you are a hunter-gatherer by nature, if you're a Mediterranean diet person, and you eat whole foods that the earth or God, or however you want to view it, produces for human consumption, that you can hunt it, you can milk it, you can pluck it off a vine or a branch, and you can eat it without getting ill, it's fair game. That's a proper human diet.
Yep.
So I know the channel's called Carnivore Talk, and I know we're very pro meat here, but that does not translate into we are anti whole foods. That's not the case whatsoever. So, yes, humans have always ate meat, and humans have always ate a vegetation of some kind, but the archaeological evidence will actually show you, that man has primarily eaten meat as greater than 50% of their caloric intake. And you find that through the stable isotope analysis. That's the word I was looking for. Stable isotope analysis indicates high meat consumption, particularly when it comes to ruminant animals and fish. And then archaeological digs, finding the tools, finding the bones of animals with the cut marks on them. And then other parts of it is regional. So you have humans that were down more around the equator. They had a more varied diet because there is produce for longer periods of time during the year. But then as you get to the extremes, like the Arctic regions, then those humans are surviving on an almost 100% carnivore diet because the weather doesn't permit agriculture. And then the areas in between, there's brief harvest periods. They have a little bit. So we're in reality probably best thought of as an opportunistic omnivore, as in what we are able to eat. But as for what is ideal, leaning towards the hyper carnivore, meaning 70% or more, that seems to be the sweet spot for humans. So, but yeah, no, but if your sweet spot is 60% carbs, 25% protein, and 50% fat, and you're knocking it out of the park, that's awesome. We support you. Keep doing what you're doing.
The reason why we eat the way we eat is we have come to learn that
the hard way.
Fatty meat. Yeah, the hard way. Exactly. The fatty meat is the most nutritious thing that we can eat.
It's what healed me.
And we want to be healed. We come to this to be healed. And this does it for us. And so we want the most nutritious thing we can put on our body. And we can get all the nutrition we need to survive just from eating meat and fats. The meat provides the nutrition, the fat provides the energy. All right. And we know that vegetables and carbs do not break down in our system enough to where we can extract the nutrients from them because we don't have the gut to do that. It takes a ruminant animal to be able to break that down, and we're not ruminants. So we let the cows break that down. They can get the fats and they can survive just fine off of the grasses and the grains and whatnot. We can't do that. And a good example of that is you look at societies who are basically vegetarian and you look at how unhealthy they are when they're just straight vegetarian. Eat like a cow and see how long it takes for you to get sick. And let's take India, for example. The highest per population of vegetarians there is, and you look, they also have the highest amount of diabetes. They're the sickest people in the world.
They are.
They don't do well. And it's because most of them are strictly vegetarians, and they're not a healthy people.
The other problem India has, and China, they can't grow enough food to feed themselves, so they buy our grains or somebody's grains, okay? They don't like corn and they don't like wheat. They don't like it. So they add sugar to it. When you see all these food programs over in those poor countries, a lot of it is foreign corn and wheat ground up, cooked into a mush, and they add sugar to it so the kids will eat it.
And if they're buying anything from us, they're buying junk. It ain't no good, because nothing we grow here is natural anymore. All of it has been genetically modified. It's been artificially grown. Most of it is no good. It's not what our ancestors ate. If you go back 150 years to what our ancestors, the wheat that they grew, you can't get that wheat anymore. It doesn't exist. You can't, nothing that we grew back then, we grow now, nothing. And so we've taken any nutrition that might have been there, we've taken it out. And we have to add nutrition to it because our soils won't support it anymore. Our soils don't have the nutrition in it. So the plants can't get the nutrition. We have to artificially put that nutrition back into the soil, in the form of fertilizer.
That's a lot of open for debate, because the biggest thing that nutritionally destroyed this country initially, we used to always grind our flours, okay? They were ground between two big stones, millstones. And then somebody figured out the roller mill. And the roller mill, by sending grain through progressively rollers that are spaced closer together, you can separate the different parts of the grain, the bran and the germ. You can separate all that. That's how they make. There was no white flour before the roller mill. Once they came up with the roller mill, they were able to separate the different parts of the grain out and create white flour.
Yeah.
If you have your own grain mill like I do, and you take wheat and grind it, you put it between your fingers, it's very silky and slippery almost because the oil from the germ is in the flour. And it also goes rancid very quickly. Okay? Maybe 7 days, 10 days at room temperature. That flour goes rancid quickly. And, you know, grain is hard to store. You got mice and rats want to eat it. It can rot. Many things can happen to it. And that's why meat, particularly small animals, once we started farming and herding animals, sheep and goats were great because, you know, 100-pound sheep or 100-pound goat, that'd be a big goat, but anyhow, you butcher that, a tribe could feast on that for a meal and probably feed the whole small tribe for 3 or 4 days. So our food storage was on the hoof. It was readily available. And the same way if you had a cow and you were milking it, making cheese and butter and that kind and drinking the milk, it was food storage on the hoof. You didn't have to worry about refrigeration or freezing or anything like that. And then, you know, we did develop others, you know, smoking and salting and all that kind of stuff. But you look, you know, the old wheat, when you looked at the grain on the end of the stalk, you know, a head of wheat almost looks like a pine cone. But the old wheats that you were talking about, it's a one row of grain on one side of the head. There's a name for it. I can't remember what it is. And there's a very small seed supply throughout the world of that, and there are specialty growers that grow it. But they barely get 10 bushel to an acre. Very, very low yield.
Yeah. But what I said is, I mean, I agree with everything you've said. I mean, you're totally accurate. But what I said still stands. We don't have the grains that we used to have because we have genetically modified them to be drought resistant, to be pest resistant, to grow larger, to grow more, to grow quicker. And then on top of that, then we spray them with glyphosates. So
and they're Roundup ready, you know.
And so we don't have what our ancestors used to have. So I think what they ate might have been better for them. I don't know, but what we have now is absolute crap. It's terrible. It's not.
And the harvesting, you're right. And the harvesting techniques, the way they harvest, 95% of the grain in America is now harvested by spraying the field with Roundup. Okay.
Yeah, glyphosates.
Yeah. You spray the field, you kill the wheat or you kill the oats, so it's uniformly dead.
Yep.
Now the combine can go through faster because the stopping point inside a combine is where the grain is detached from the stalk.
They get a greater yield because all of it is now equal.
Yeah. It all comes off very easily when it's uniformly dead. When you run a combine, I've driven a combine. When you drive a combine, this goes back 40, 50 years. You take the combine across the field, that wheat is not homogeneous. There's areas where maybe the field's a little low, so it got a little more moisture, and the grain isn't quite as dry as maybe where you just came off the hill slope a little bit. And but when you spray it all with Roundup and kill it all evenly, it all dries and quote unquote ripens at the same time.
Yep.
And you've only got, once a field of wheat ripens, you've only got 20 days max. Really, we always called it 2 weeks. You got 2 weeks to get that crop in, and then it's gone. It's just going to fall on the ground.
Yeah.
The grain's going to fall off and spread itself on the ground for the next crop. And it's you know, the American farmer some of the things that we've done, and some want to call it progress. Maybe it's not progress. But you look at Luther Burbank, he developed the sweet pea. The sweet peas weren't sweet smelling. He crawled around on his hands and knees smelling flowers. And then he would put ammonia up his nose to clear his nose out. Then he go sniff more sweet peas. And he found the sweetest smelling ones. There's a farmer in the Dakotas who was walking through his cornfield, small field, 6-7 acres, specialty seed he was growing. He found 7 plants that were red. They had red veins in them, in the corn. So he isolated them real quick, bagged the tassels and all that, hand pollinated them, and he found a corn seed that was extremely high in protein. It's like almost 20% protein. And now this, it's an amazing product. And it was just somebody who observed nature and then took advantage of it. And that's where a lot of our things come from. What I didn't know is a lot of the citrus fruits, lemons you can't find a lemon in the wild. They never existed. That was a totally man-made hybrid.
Mm-hmm.
It was 2 different fruits that they crossed together.
And look at a lot of the vegetables that we used to eat, your broccolis and your cauliflower and stuff like that, man-made vegetables. And the whole point of the thing is that our bodies aren't designed to digest this to the point where we can extract the nutrients out of it.
That's a very good point. If you wanted to say, what's the best diet for the human being? Well, what can we digest? And we're designed to digest meat.
That's it. That's why when we eat vegetables and whatnot, it basically comes out the same way it went in, only it's masticated.
Our stomach acid is extremely powerful.
Yeah.
I think it's like between 1.5 and 2 on the pH scale. Oh my God.
The great example is oh gosh, his name slips my mind, but the window washer over there in England.
Yeah.
Somebody will come up with his name. I'm not coming up with it, but anyway, you look at him, and he's got the colostomy bag, and he is the greatest example to show exactly what our food does through our digestive system. He's a great example of that. And he shows we do not break down vegetables, not enough to where we can extract enough nutrients out of them to survive off of them.
Yeah, his nurse, the lady who trained him how to take care of that bag said, "Oh yeah, we find broccoli and carrots and celery all the time."
Yep, that's positive proof right there. But we don't find meat.
Right.
All my meat digests, breaks down.
I never worry about swallowing up some grizzle,
Oh no! In fact, I won't spit it out. I'll make sure I swallow it. Good collagen.
Because our stomachs can handle it.
Yep.
You know how bad your stomach acid is? We went through a very rough pregnancy with our 3rd child. My wife was in the hospital 17 times for dehydration and was hospitalized for 6 weeks, did not eat for 3 months. And they looked down her throat. It was all dead skin. The stomach acid had dissolved the skin of her esophagus.
Man.
They went down in there with tweezers and pulled out all the dead skin. That's how powerful the acid is. Stomach acid from heartburn can damage your throat right in here. Mine's damaged. It doesn't bother me, but they told me, "Oh, you're damaged." I go, "Wait, whatever."
This stuff right here, Polar, is delicious.
Well, I'm going to try a bottle of that tomorrow.
It's good. It's good stuff.
I saw it in the store.
I just disappeared and ran to the bathroom. Did you happen to address the question I put up on the screen?
No,
okay.
We were still talking about plants.
Okay. So Jamette asks to the panel, how many carnivore meals a day? I think Rick is 3 times a day, me once. So again, that's individual. You could be a 1 meal a day, you could be a 2 meals a day, or you could be a 3 meals a day. I'm 2 meals a day typically, 3 meals a day if I'm hungry.
I can't see eating 3 meals a day. I don't think I can eat 3 meals a day. You know,
Can't either.
I'm
it
more
have
like-
to be real small meals, and a
Yeah.
small meal just doesn't satisfy me anymore.
I'm like maybe 2 and a snack. But usually I eat twice. Now some days I only eat once, you know, and that's but it just kind of depends on the day. I think
About 3 months into carnivore, I went OMAD, and I didn't do it on purpose. I did it just out of natural selection. I just wasn't hungry, and I thought, why am I eating by the clock? I was eating 3 meals a day. I was eating by the clock, breakfast, lunch, and dinner. And I thought, why am I doing this? I'm eating when I'm not hungry. Just eat when you're hungry. That's what's natural.
You're telling my story, Jeff.
I would have an empty stomach in the morning, but I wasn't hungry. An empty belly doesn't signify hunger to me. And hunger is when I've just got to have something to eat.
Right.
You know, I'm feeling it. I've got to have it. And an empty belly isn't that cue for me. So I said, stop eating when you're not hungry. And I ended up not wanting to eat till around anywhere from 11 to 3 o'clock in the afternoon. Anywhere in that time frame, I might either find the time to eat or get the desire to eat. And that's what it was, more of a desire than it was a hunger, I guess. And so I became OMAD, and I was that for 2 years. And then here several months ago, I had a medical procedure done at the hospital. And when I got out, for the next 6 days, I was sick. I had picked up a bug of some kind, and I just couldn't eat. I had no appetite. My stomach was upset. I had severe diarrhea, and I was sick I didn't eat for about 6 days. And I'm already at the lowest weight I need to be for my age and my size, which is 160 pounds. And I dropped down to 154 pounds. And I said, no, when I got my appetite back, I said, I got to start eating again. So I started eating 2 meals a day. And I've kept that up since then, and just recently got my weight back up to 160. And so far, I'm now in a habit of eating 2 meals a day. So I'll eat generally around 9 o'clock. I'll eat a decent meal of some kind of meat, usually something left over from the night before. And then around 5 o'clock, I'll go ahead and have another meal. And instead of eating, 1 to 2 pounds of meat, I'm probably eating closer to about 3/4 of a pound of meat at each meal.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, I'm eating too mad right now.
Yeah, and that's what I was going to say is people that eat OMAD. I mean, think of what you would eat. Let's say you wanted to eat 1,800 calories a day, and you did that over 3 meals, 3 600-calorie meals. If you were going too mad, now you're going to eat 2 basically 900-calorie meals. And I know we don't believe in calories, blah blah blah, but I'm just using it for illustrative purposes. And then if you're going to eat OMAD, 1 meal a day, you would have that 1,800 calories in one sitting. And you brought up Rick. You talk about Charger Mopar. Sometimes he'll eat 4 pounds and he's done till the next day. So I think Rick is off an OMAD also.
But he says he eats 3 meals a day. And I'll tell you what, if I ate one of his burgers, I would probably not eat for 2 days.
Did he say that? Maybe he just gave a one-off example of one time he made something that filled him up for a whole day. Maybe it was one of his heart attack burgers that was really big or something. So I remember him saying he ate 4 or 5 pounds of something and then he couldn't eat again until the following day. Might have been just one.
I can do 2 pounds of meat, but he can beat me at 4 pounds easy.
No, I can't even get 2 pounds in one sitting. That's too much for me. Steadfast asks, how does one regulate bowels with no butter? I can't imagine how that would work. Yeah, any fat. Yeah, if you're trying to loosen them up, more tallow, more lard. If you're trying to firm them up, less tallow, less lard. And for some reason, when I eat more cheese, I get more solid stools. So also, I stopped taking electrolytes. Like I used to take a magnesium every day. I can't take potassium because of my kidney issue. I don't excrete potassium, so my potassium's always way too high. And I don't know why anybody needs potassium anyway. There's tons of potassium in carnivore foods. And then so I salt to taste like anybody else, and my salt usually runs low. And then
Wow.
I wasn't done yet. And then magnesium, I was taking a magnesium supplement. Since I've stopped taking the magnesium supplement, I haven't had issues with loose stools at all. So I'm actually feeling good. I feel better not taking electrolytes than I did taking electrolytes. So that's
If you're that's electrolytes, I think are needed when you get started on carnivore for some period of time.
I agree with that.
And then if you're eating, this is what Barcade taught me. He says, you have to eat enough food to bump your blood sugar up enough to trigger the kidneys to not spit out the potassium and the magnesium and sodium that you took in. Okay. So I started 2 days ago. I started on Saturday on my new regime, and I'm targeting, I've never counted or measured anything before. Now I am. And I'm shooting for about 70 to 80 grams of protein a day, which is a fair amount less than I've been eating. And so, and I'm tracking it I basically Google my meal and look for the macros, and Google provides me pretty good numbers, and I go from there. So I'm eating less now, but like today I had blood sugar was right about 80 until I ate, and then it went to about 120. And according to Bart, that's enough to trigger my kidneys to do what they're supposed to do. So I don't want to damage myself in any way. I don't want to go backwards in any way. But I was just between the blood sugar and the insulin, I've packed on 45 pounds in the last 4 months. And I'm not happy about it. But when you're injecting insulin, one of the things insulin does is stores fat.
Yep. Yeah.
And so if they try minimizing insulin too far, then the blood sugar takes off, and it's just. But it's very early yet. I got 90 days to stay on this course, and so far it's looking okay.
All right. Well, very good. Hope that new regimen works out for you.
I hope it does. Yeah.
Brad says vegan is a native Indian word that means bad hunter.
That's right.
I love that. I'm sorry, but
We've
I
been
love
saying
that.
that in the hunting community for a long time.
Bill Cook says beer is my favorite carb. It's a lot of people's favorite carb, actually. That's Bart K's favorite carb. I've heard him say that he likes to have a beer once in a while.
And a bag of chips.
Yeah. Jabet says, I believe in the Bible. Jesus broke bread. How do you explain that? Because people eat bread. That's, as people have been eating bread for, on a biblical timeline, 6,000 years or so.
Man discovered, basically the Egyptians kind of discovered this, but man discovered a long time ago that when you have a large city, it's tough to feed them all meat. And they found that it was a lot easier to grow wheat to be able to feed the masses. We did that during the Industrial Revolution. We did that in all the big cities. You know, we feed them with grains because it's cheap, it's inexpensive, and it's easy to grow. And so even back then, that's what they ate.
Right.
Yeah,
And then
But I still contend that what they ate ain't what we eat today.
right, yeah. So you know,
exactly.
that wheat was, you know, grown without glyphosate. It was not genetically modified. Um, and they didn't strip out like you know the bran and the germ and separate it in all these different portions and only give you the junk. I mean, it had all that stuff in it.
Yeah.
And then as far as that bread that they broke, that was Passover bread, so it wasn't even didn't have any
Leavened.
yeast. It had
Yeah,
no
it
leaven
didn't have
in
any
it.
yeast.
So it was more like a cracker. It was just like dried flour, water, baked and crisp like a
Hardtack.
cracker. Yeah. and and also that was part of a Passover meal, which was commanded. You know, the history of that goes back to Moses. And the reason they called it Passover was because they had to slaughter the lamb and paint the blood on their doorposts, and then God's angel would pass over their houses and go forth and spare the firstborn in that house. And they ended up killing the firstborns throughout Egypt. That's why they call it Passover. And then when they were instructed to prepare to leave, because that was going to be the straw that broke the camel's back, or broke Pharaoh's back. And then after that, he's like, get out of here. They had to be prepared to leave the next morning. And so they couldn't take the time to bake and do all this preparation. So it was just to make a simple bread and cook some lamb. That was the lamb that you sacrificed to paint the blood over the door. And that was the Passover meal. And then so that became a holiday after that they were supposed to commemorate annually. So every Passover, once a year, they had to have that meal of unleavened bread and the lamb, which also shows that nobody in ancient Jewish society was a vegetarian because they were, by law, they had to eat lamb at least on that day. So that meal, when Jesus broke the bread, they were actually celebrating the Passover. And so that's why they were having bread. That's why, and they had Passover lamb, and of course they also had wine,
Yep.
pure wine, not tainted wine. It was alcohol though, and they had wine,
Oh.
and then and then he replaced the Passover with a new celebration of doing the bread and the wine thing, but that's another story altogether. So yeah, it was just common. People commonly ate bread back then. So did Jesus and everybody around them.
It was a staple.
It was a staple.
It was a staple for them.
Yeah, it was a staple, but it's not like today where
No.
you've got everything today is a combination of sugar, grain, seed oils, salt. You know, it wasn't like that back then. They didn't have all this.
No. Totally different.
Their bread was
yeah,
halfway decent and still not ideal. But
And I'm going to tell you what, if
decent.
you've ever had real bread, man, there ain't nothing like it. I mean, I won't eat it anymore, but my sister-in-law, I don't know where she would get it, but she would buy a special wheat. One of my sister-in-laws, she would buy a special wheat. And this was supposedly an older type of wheat that was not genetically modified. It was more of what our ancestors used to eat, and she had to order it. I don't know where she got it. But she would grind her own wheat and make her own bread, and she made a pure bread. Like maybe not what they made in biblical times, but what our pioneers would have made. And I'm going to tell you what, you toast up one slice of that and put some butter on it, and it was like eating a meal. It was so good. It was absolutely the best bread I've ever had. And I can just imagine that bread that they were eating back then was probably somewhat similar to that. It was probably pretty good.
It was very high protein. Very high
still
protein.
Not the healthiest for us, but better than what than the manufactured stuff that we have today. But bringing up what they ate in the scriptures, Jesus breaking bread and all this. So you bring up the Passover. So do you take communion now as a carnivore?
That can be a rhetorical question. That can be a rhetorical question. But I would imagine if you like there's like some. Well, depends on your particular religion or denomination.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
Some people do it every Sunday. Some people do it once a year. Some people do it once a year, but only a certain class of people will take it. So that is a question. That depends on your spirituality. If you believe you are commanded to take communion and you're a carnivore, well, then what supersedes? Does your spirituality and your obedience to God supersede your diet? Or is it the other way around?
Now,
I've got my beliefs on that, and yours may differ. My beliefs would be that your scriptural and spiritual obligations would supersede your diet. A bite of bread and a sip of wine is not going to kill anybody.
absolutely.
Exactly.
Absolutely. And that's exactly how I feel about it.
Mhm.
I will take communion, and I don't consider it cheating on carnivore or anything like that. No, my spiritual life comes first above all things. My food that I eat, to me, is spiritual. But I will take communion. I have no issues with it. It's a small piece of unleavened bread. It's a small little sip of usually grape juice. But if it's wine, that's fine too. I've only turned down communion a few times in my life. Once since I was saved. I've turned it down one time since I was saved. And but there was a reason behind it. It wasn't a spiritual reason. It was a health reason. No, I don't have a problem taking communion as a carnivore. Doesn't affect me in the least, and it doesn't trigger anything in me.
All right. So there you go. Bill Cook asks, isn't butter and cheese technically a lion diet? So if we go by the
Not
inventor of the
technically.
lion diet, which is Michaela Peterson, is ruminant meat, ruminant meat,
No.
water, and salt. And
No, and there's people who are so dogmatic about carnivore, they'll even say that ain't carnivore.
right, yeah.
I've gotten
Yeah.
in,
Well, it's not
I've had
carnivore.
discussions with people on that believe if you eat cheese, you ain't carnivore.
Mm-hmm.
And of course I disagree with that, but it comes from an animal. I think it's okay. And no, I do not count bees as animals or insects.
Yeah. So technically, no, it's not lion diet by the inventor of the lion diet. And we refer to Michaela Peterson's lion diet, because she can only eat beef, water, and salt. So she's tried adding other things to her diet and ends up in bad situations. So Bill Cook also says 5 loaves of bread and 2 fish fed 5,000, guessing they were large fish. That's funny. There's another comment that said 2 megalodons. So that was obviously a miracle, because not only did they have 5 loaves of bread and 2 fish, but after they fed 5,000, I don't know if that's 5,000 people or if that was 5,000 men, not including the women and children with them. I don't remember which one it is, but either way, it's a lot of people. And this happened on 2 occasions. On one occasion, after everybody was done feasting, they picked up the leftovers and had 12 baskets full. And on another occasion, they picked up the leftovers and had 7 baskets full. So the point is this was obviously a miracle, which had a twofold purpose. One was to identify that Jesus was the Messiah sent by God. And then 2 would be to show that, under his rule, starvation or famine would not be an issue. He'd be able to feed everybody. So if you're going full lion, chances are dairy was discovered to be inflammatory. That's a very good point. And like it is for Michaela Peterson, everything on the planet is inflammatory to her, except for steak and water.
I've got a friend of mine, we talk about this being an elimination diet, and that's the ultimate elimination diet, right? Exactly. Bride's biscuit. So I've got a friend who's having some issues, and I suggested to him that he might want to go ahead and go full line in the beginning. And I say, do it for 30 to 90 days and basically cleanse his system of everything, and then introduce something back in, introduce some eggs back in, and see if that bothers him. Just introduce them back in for a week and see what happens. And if nothing happens, fine, you can start eating eggs again. But slowly bring things back in to see what affects it, to find out what it is that's bothering him. I think lion's a really good foundation to start with.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. All right, let me unstar some of these. I'm going down my list here. Jamette says, Bride's Biscuit, I would like to do lion diet, but love the butter on my meat. And you know what?
Me too.
I don't blame you.
so do lion plus butter. Like I said, don't get too hung up on the labels and the terminology. And
30 days, do it for 30 days.
Mm-hmm.
You want to do lion for 30 days. You can tough it out for 30 days. You may find out that you like it.
Start off with a week.
Yeah.
Start off with a week, then go after you're done with a week, be like, I can do 2. If you can do 2, you can do 4. Now you've got your month down. So yeah. But at the same time, like if you're a carnivore and you're eating chicken and fish and cheese and cold cuts and you're just like, I want to try a lion diet, but I'm going to miss my butter. Then eat a lion diet and add your butter. I mean, honestly, who cares?
Well, I'm gonna miss the butter, but I'm not gonna eat it. This is an experiment for me.
Right.
I can do like Jeff said. I can do anything for 30 days.
Sure.
I'm giving up my beloved butter, and I love butter.
That's how we started Carnivore. Yeah. I can do anything for 30 days. It ain't going to kill me, so I'll do 30 days. Hey, that 30 days went good. Let me do another 30. Now, see, what I would do is like, somebody's steadfast, question, about butter. How do you regulate your bowels without butter doing lion? What I would do is I cook with tallow or butter, and I make my own tallow. So the tallow I put in the pan, I cook the meat, whether it's burger, whatever, and then there's always fat left over in the pan. Pour that over the meat as a gravy.
That's what I do.
So that you get all that tallow back, you get all that fat back. And one of the things that slays me is people will cook up a hamburger patty and they're going, oh, well, I use 80-20 or I use 70-30. I don't care if you use 50-50. You cooked most of the fat out of the meat. Unless you cooked it rare, you cooked most of the fat out of the meat. All you got to do, it's like bacon. Look at what's left in the pan. You lost the majority of the fat. So pour the fat back over the meat. Don't lose it. That's the key. So, yeah, go ahead and do without the butter, but use plenty of tallow. Pour that fat over the meat.
That's what I'll be doing.
Alrighty. Let me mark a comment here. I'm catching up on comments. Where's that one? Let me star that. Okay. Now I know where to go back on my main list. So going back to my starred comments here. Here's something that's interesting. Brad Hagen says, whatever your weight is times 10 is the calories you should be eating. That's interesting.
I haven't heard that one.
I'm 175. If I only ate 1750 calories a day, I'd continue losing weight. So I'm not 100% sure on that. And of course, a calorie is not a calorie, and what I mean by that is, I can eat 2,500 calories of meat and still lose weight, or I can eat 2,500 calories of donuts and I'll get fat as all get out. So
see, that ignores activity level.
That is true. So yeah, I mean, if I ate 2,500 calories of donuts and then ran 10 miles a day, it probably wouldn't affect me.
My son figures he burns 3,500 calories when he runs the marathon.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know how he comes up with that.
I can make it on 1,600 calories a day.
That's.
Right
I
for
think
me.
I'd wither away to nothing. I think.
Yeah,
I think that may be your baseline to sustain life.
maybe.
Well,
Yeah.
it was Keys, the Keys, the one I'm talking about.
Ansel.
Yeah, he came up with the 3,400 calories for the military diet, and that's where the K ration is 3,400 calories. And then, but the guys who were loading the shells into the guns and really working their butts off, they were 400 calories a day short, he figured. So they had something that somewhat resembled a modern day Snickers bar. And they were kind of big. They were 400 calories, and they came in a wrapper. And these guys would stick these in their pockets, and they would, reach in their pocket and break off a piece and eat it while they're loading shells into the guns. The physical demanding jobs. And that even got into the Geneva prisoner of war rules. You had to feed your prisoners 3,400 calories a day. Not that everybody did that, but America did it.
That's eating good.
They
Well,
when the German
apparently
we
you ain't never ate any C rations or K rations.
No, I'm just saying 3,400 calories a day.
Yeah.
when we brought the Germans and the Italian prisoners back to America, over 500,000 of them on the Liberty ships, distributed them all throughout the country, and they couldn't believe that they were being fed so well. They couldn't believe it. Real bacon, real eggs, real butter. Oh my God!
Well, I'll tell you what. So little short story here. So when I was stationed in Germany, we were on maneuvers, and I was assigned to take my patrol and guard this intersection, these roads, and we had to inspect every vehicle that came through, and we had a German truck come through, what we would call a deuce and a half, and so we had to stop it and inspect it. Well, it turned out it was a mess truck, and they were going to feed the German troops in the field. And so I asked them, I said, so what are y'all eating? And they said they were eating potato soup, bread, and beer. And I'm like, excuse me, beer? Y'all get beer for lunch? And he says, yeah. Well, you wouldn't want to trade some of that beer. And they said, well, what do you got? I said, well, afraid all we got are C rations. And they said, oh, you have C rations? I said, yeah, I got a case of them in my APC. And they said, we'll trade you a case of beer, case of C rations. They loved those C rations because all they got in the field was potato soup, bread, and beer. And that's what they got all the time. And so I traded a case of C rations for a case of beer. And when I got back to the rest of my squad, pulled up, and they go, Sarge, it's about time you got here, man. We're hungry. And I said, guys, I got bad news for you. They said, what's that? I said, I gave away your C rations. And of course, they were about ready to lynch me until I said, but this is what I gave it away for. And I gave them that case of beer. I said, now take it up the hill. Don't let anybody know that you're drinking this. So I was kind of a hero, even though I was allowed for giving away the food. But I was just amazed. Even in modern day, they don't eat good. The foreign troops.
Yeah.
They thought our C rations were great. We thought they would only sustain life. We couldn't stand them.
Interesting. All right, I'm gonna wrap this up in about 15 minutes. By the way, and I'm trying to make that my goal. By 11, I'm done.
I'm going to have to be done too. So
Yeah.
that sounds good to me.
Going back to the last remaining starred comments here, Bride's Biscuit talking about my beverages of choice lately. Says the pH from 0-calorie flavored fizzies affected my tooth enamel in Denton. I was using a lot though. Yeah, you mentioned that the week before about carbonic acid, and maybe that's an individualistic N = 1 kind of thing. Because I mean, I've I've been drinking fizzy stuff since I could walk, and I'm doing okay. I haven't had any problems. So, but yeah, no. If something bothers you, then definitely drop it. And of course, like, yeah, what should we all be drinking? Water,
Water.
plain water. That's admittedly true. There are days I eat a lot, and then others not so much. That's me. There's days that I just have the one meal, or maybe not even a meal. I might even just graze on something a bit to kill the hunger, and then I forget to eat the rest of the day. And then some days I'm just like, yeah, I'm hungry. I'm going to eat a lot. Rick does say 4 pounds will fill him up until the next day. I do remember. So I did remember him saying that. So I think it depends maybe on the size of his meals. Bryce Biscuit says, I eat almost no butter and my bowels move like a goose's.
Lucky you.
Yeah. Oh. Here's a good point from Feral Grandmother. Jesus also walked everywhere all the time. So yeah, that's true. And
That's
so
an excellent point for all of our ancestors.
yeah, they all, your 2 feet was the only means of travel. And you might walk miles and miles and miles and miles and miles a day. So part of our problem today is our sedentary, lazy lifestyle. And the other problem is just all the junk that goes into the food. Like, if you have a good, clean source of bread and you have a little bread once in a while, it's not the end of the world. Generally speaking. Okay, so it could be the end of the world for me, because then all of a sudden, the addiction comes back. I think it's probably the end of the world for most people in the United States. The United States bread is terrible. I've seen all kinds of videos that, people that they eat bread over in Europe, and it's a completely different experience. I had people that they actually literally can't eat bread here. They're gluten intolerant, makes them sick, whatever. But then they can go over to Europe and eat bread over there and not have to worry about taking medication. They don't have no ill effects or nothing like that. I've seen people.
Different type of wheat, different type of growing process.
Right.
They don't use the glyphosates. There's all kinds of differences in what they and our ancestors were active all the time. Life was hard. I'm cutting down a tree right now. Okay. It's going to take me a long time to cut this tree down, and I'm using a chainsaw. It's a big tree, 45-footer. And, back in the day, we'd have been swinging axes on that puppy. That's a workout.
The other thing is Europe has a they got less growing area. So they're using hillsides and mountains, higher elevations. There's a wide range there's grains grown in Europe that we never see hardly. They have a corn that looks like wheat. Okay. It's grown and harvested more like alfalfa hay than it is. It's not, you won't find no ears on this corn.
Well, don't most people over in Europe consider corn just animal feed? They won't even eat it.
Yes. And that was a problem with German prisoners in America.
Mm-hmm.
They thought they were giving them a celebration, a summer barbecue or festival with sweet corn.
Yeah.
And they go, they're trying to kill us. They're fattening us up to slaughter us like pigs. They didn't eat for an hour. They refused the food for an hour. And but you go to Ireland, they normally only toast your bread on one side. You won't find a standard toaster over there. A lot of if they make toast, they make it in the oven, and the heat only comes from one side, so you only get one side toasted. And,
so what this comes down to is and it's part of the reason why I repeatedly say on this channel that I'm not anti-plant, and I'm not anti other types of diets, but I'm very pro carnivore because carnivore works for me. The people that are watching this channel and that is on this panel, carnivore is what worked for us, but there are certainly other people that can eat whatever they want. Lucky them. and they never gain an ounce of fat and they don't get sick. Wonderful, so
Yep.
but we're not all like that. Some of us, for one reason or another, are broken, and the way we had to eliminate these things in order to repair ourselves. And so that's why we don't like it, and we might stay away from it.
Yep.
But we're not going to inherently say, I'm not going to make a broad brush statement that says bread is absolutely evil. Don't ever touch it, ever, 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 ever.
It just ain't for me.
It's just not for me. Exactly. So
Yeah,
on
here.
my anniversary, on December 18th, that was my wife and I's 25th anniversary. We went out to some high-end restaurant, paid a ridiculous amount of money for what we had. It was delicious. I showed it last week on last week's live. I showed a picture of it. I had just filet mignon, lobster tail, shrimp, scallops. There was some asparagus, some potato, and yes, before the meal came out, they brought it out a bread basket. And did I eat a slice of bread? Yes, I did. Because when you're dropping that kind of money, I'm going to lick that plate clean. Sorry, and I'm there to celebrate. So that for me, that was, I went in there knowing that I was going to cheat. Just like I said, some people go into their holidays knowing that they're going to cheat. And that's the one day a year that I would go ahead and willingly, happily eat a grain product, So now it violates my food philosophy, no grains, no refined sugar. So basically no grasses. I don't believe that they're human food if they have to be processed. And but can humans eat them? Yes, thousands of years, So
Well,
again,
I have a confession to make.
Sure.
You mentioned eating that bread. I didn't eat bread. I have no desire to. But Christmas, I did eat a stuffed mushroom.
Mm-hmm.
So I had one fungi. It was a big mushroom. It was stuffed. It was all stuffed, carnivore stuff.
Mm-hmm.
I did eat that one mushroom. So
all right. So it took us
I did
3
have
hours.
me one cheat.
Took us 3 hours to get that out of you.
Well, I forgot all about it. It was just one, And it tasted pretty good.
All right.
So,
I've
Jeff,
had
you ate a fun guy. Huh?
A fungi.
I'm
That's a good
sorry.
one too.
I'm sorry.
That's
That's
all right.
good.
That was okay.
Life Back System agrees with us. No chemicals, and we had different gut issues from all the pesticides. So yeah, that's very different.
Another excellent point.
So Brad Hagen, Deuteronomy chapter 14 tells you the animals to eat. So that was then. That doesn't apply now. But but it does. You're right. If you lived in ancient Israel,
All that I have made is good for you.
and you were subject under the Mosaic law, yes, there were certain dietary protocols that had to be followed. And but in the Christian era, that's been done away with.
When I first became a Christian, I had to go to my mentor, and I said, after I read that, and I'm like, do I have to abide by this? Because I'm going to hate giving up my pork ribs and catfish. I don't know that I can do that, and my crawfish and my lobster. But yeah, he straightened me out.
Well, I've been to a Jewish Seder, the Passover meal, with a real devout Jewish family. Let me tell you what, it's a real contest to get through that meal. It's 4 glasses of wine, 7 bitter herbs, 7 sweets, and prayers after prayers after prayers, and the glasses of wine ain't small. And everybody drinks wine, even the kids. They grape juice it down, yes, but it's and when they clean out that house the night before, there's no yeast basically in the house. Everything goes in the trash can. And because the one boy had a birthday the day before Passover that year, and they threw the cake in the trash. Whatever was left of the cake just went in the trash can, in the garbage bag, and not just out to the garage, but outside the garage. Trash can had to be outside the garage. It was wild. It was very good. And it's just like the kosher Jews, they no meat at lunch. It's dairy products. And at dinner, there's no dairy, it's only meat. For Yeah, I think that's the way it is. It's
Can't mix milk and blood.
right. And and the whole thing about kosher is, killing killing the animal quickly without it knowing. That's the whole part of that's really the basis of kosher. And not the way my grandfather did it, not the way my uncles did it, but
All right, down to the last 6 minutes. Bride's Biscuit says, coffee will be included in my lion diet. Come at me.
Somebody ain't giving it up.
Yeah, that's all. That's okay. All right. And so, like I said, over on Carnivore Talk, we're not going to be so rigid. We just want to see you take whatever you're doing and take it to the next level. Make some sort of sacrifice, and for January, commit to 30 days of like I said, if you're animal based, let's do 30 days, no fruit and honey. If you're B&E, why don't you try 30 days lion diet? If you're, just what can you do to amp up your game? Maybe you're happy with your dietary habits, but you'd like to boost your exercise content. That's fine. Then make that your January goal. What are you going to do for World Carnivore Month? I'm not going to say New Year's resolution. What are you going to do for World Carnivore Month to advance, to bring your A game? That's the question. Here's a comment for Paul. Mandy Beddos says, Paul, please check out Candy Frazier with Jesse Chappis. So the channel would be Jesse Chappis. It validates what you said on dropping fat to lower insulin. So that's interesting. I like Jesse Chappis's content. He kind of interviews everybody. He himself doesn't stick to anything, but he just has like a health podcast where he talks to all kinds of influencers of different spectrums. So, but yeah, that might be worth checking out. Jamet says, love your Egg Life wraps. I wish they were mine. I'd be a wealthy guy right now. But yeah, Egg Life wraps are the bomb. I had them tonight. Came home from work. Taco meat, cheese, sour cream, and Egg Life wraps. Had a couple tacos before I came on the live tonight. Sandy says kids drink wine in Germany, and that's true.
Yeah.
They actually have vending machines you can just put coins in and get a beer out of.
Well, but there's no age limit on alcohol, period. They can drink wine, beer, whatever. Ich bin ein Deutschlander. I grew up in Germany, my first formative years, and I drank wine all the years growing up, at special occasions, not on a daily basis, but Thanksgiving, Christmas, whenever. I always had my Weinstube, which was my small wine glass. I still have it, although I don't use it anymore. But you bet, yeah, I drank wine as ein Kinder.
Yeah. I know I took German in school, and some of the students got to be foreign exchange students, and the teacher talked about how like the German kids would come over here, no big deal. The American kids would go spend a month over there, and then they were all like, oh my gosh, I can buy alcohol here. And they'd be getting beer out of the machines, getting drunk. And the German kids are like, what are you stupid people doing? Because they didn't think of it as a big deal, because they could always get it. So they didn't think it was a big deal. But the kids from the US that went over there was like, oh my gosh, I can actually drink. And they would. So that's interesting. And Jamet makes the comment, back in the day, no social media. People rode bikes and walked. Kids don't do any of that today. And that's true. Yes, the sedentary lifestyle has been a problem.
I rode my bike everywhere.
Yeah, so did I. I want to get back into it. I want to get back into it. I got a bike, and I got used. I want to get a nice one and go riding again. Riding and rucking. I want to get a ruck vest. So, but right now it's winter. I got my treadmill set up though, so that's been nice. Lewis had tacos also. Brad says, thank you all in the chat, going to keep me accountable. Yes. Yeah, let's do all that we can to encourage one another to stay the course. It's 10:59. I'm going to wrap this up. And thank you all for joining us this Monday. We'll be back next Monday, and our theme is going to be World Carnivore Month. That's going to be Monday the 5th. And we're going to have some sort of contest like we did last year. Last year, just to give you an idea, we had a thread on the forum, and if you participate, every time you participated in that thread, that counted as an entry. We'll probably do something like that again, but I'm going to find other ways too to amp it up, because over half the audience isn't over there; they're just here on YouTube, and so I'm going to get all that figured out. But you got to have a free way. You got to always have a way that's free, or else it's an illegal. It's a legal lottery. So, but with all that aside, let's look forward to January 2026, World Carnivore Month. Bring our A game, amp it up, take it to the next level, whatever you want to do. Let's hit 2026 running hard and keep the momentum going even as the year progresses. So that's it. We'll see you over there.
Thank you for hosting.
Thank you for joining.
Good.
David. Good seeing you. Thank you, Paul.
Good to see you all.
Yeah, glad you joined us again, David.
Night,
you.
everybody.
Thank you, everybody in the chat. I'm going to hit the end button, and we'll
take
see you
care.
over on the forums, and we'll see you next week.
Good night, y'all.
Everybody.
Okay, bye-bye.